Well, holy shit, it's 2025. Happy New Year, everybody. How's it going?
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year to you
Can you
all.
believe it?
No,
It's
I'm.
I'm gonna say an old man thing that it only seems like only yesterday it was 1999 and we were worried about the world collapsing because of the changeover of the calendar.
I remember how many
Bonkers.
posts on the news they used to say, "Oh my God, did you see the click is ticking?" And everybody's like, "Oh, you're about to 12 o'clock to hit that."
Mhm.
Like what's gonna happen? But
The world's gonna end.
25 years later, and we're still pessimistic about
We're
flying
somehow
cars.
still trucking along. Who the fuck figured that?
Where's the flying cars? I'm still disappointed. I mean,
Yeah.
I keep watching the Back to the Future. I just actually watched on this holiday the first
Oh,
one.
nice.
It's still my favorite. And just the way he was like, oh, because the thing is the future cars is in the second one, and then it comes to, because the end of the first one, that's why my favorite is, because he comes in, puts the trash in the car, like, come on people, learn, put this trash, and trash is basically burns you up to the future with the flying
Yeah.
cars. It was so cool to see, like a bit of a beer, a banana peel, and then you go, we are set in the future kind of thing to
Yeah.
fly off, which we don't have it, unfortunately.
No, we don't have it.
But hey ho, 2025, a big one again.
It's crazy.
Quarter of whatever 100. No,
It's
yes,
fucking crazy, man. Yeah. It's
yeah.
nuts.
So very
Um
interesting, but
yeah.
speechless. Yeah.
We already have 7 people lurking.
Oh,
Welcome everybody. Nice to see
oh,
you all.
okay.
So I mean, we're just gonna do, since we didn't have a chance to on Sunday with the holidays and everything, it's not as
Yeah.
easy to kind of book
No,
some time
I
on the
was
weekend. But this
not
worked
really
out for
there.
both of us. So
Mm,
this is pretend that this is Sunday. It's a nice Sunday afternoon. Put your feet up, and
wish.
we're gonna talk about some comics and whatever else we end up talking about. And of course, like,
Hump day.
feel free to comment in the chat. Do I have the chat open? Yes, I do.
It's supposed to be comic book day, but like nothing works on comic book day.
Mhm.
Is it? It's Canada also shut for once in the blue moon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I think
good.
everything is shut today. I haven't really looked, to be honest. I know that
Mhm.
there's one comic shop that's open today because he's been having a sale for the past week.
Oh, that's
But
good.
I already went to kind of pick through his shelves because it was a hell of a sale. Like, his sale was 25% off of the US cover price. So if it
Oof.
says $29.99 US, he's charging you $29.99 minus the 25% Canadian. So he's doing a direct, like, as if it's, yeah. So it was pretty cool. I didn't find a ton of stuff, but I did find a few things. Ended up buying Lily a couple of books.
Cool.
What's her name? The famous Talgemeyer, is that who it is? I can't remember who the famous.
The little books now, like every single
Yeah,
this
I think I got her Clementine book number 2 because I thought she had book number 1. She doesn't actually, so I was gonna try to go back before the sale's over, but I didn't have a chance. And then I got her another one that I can't remember what it's called, a hardcover one by the same artist author, which she's super excited about. So yeah, so it was nice to kind of hit the sale, but
yeah.
everything else is cold.
Yeah. I still watched a few things, or tried to at least. Not really many Christmas movies, to be honest. Watched my typical Polar Express. I kind of really like that one. It's a bit weird, bizarre, but I really enjoy it because it's the Tom Hanks, and it's like the weird futuristic animation they were trying to use in that movie. But I think it's growing up even more in popularity since, I don't know, it's released. I don't know how it was great, but I find it really comforting to watch that, even though everything is kind of weird, especially for that the guy on the train. That like a Christmas spirit guy, he's like really creepy. It's like proper scary stuff. And then I was always hesitant to see if my son is gonna react to him. And the first year I think I've showed it to him, he didn't enjoy him or whatsoever. It's like, this is like proper. And now I think he just says, "Oh, he's just creepy, isn't he?" It's like, yeah, he's proper one. He's not like, he has this like he sits there with fire on the top of the train, basically having that like brew, the coffee brew, whatever, stinky, like that, like middle-aged, like Western kind of style of coffee. And then he has this like like his tang to his speech as well, and he's trying to basically teach a lesson. It's kind of bizarre, like part of the actual whole movie of Christmas about Christmas, but I think it's just trying to teach you maybe the past of the future. How can people end up if you're not being good or bad, the kind of thing, that kind of lesson.
Right. Yeah.
And then one thing which is like we watched just recently, which I actually really, really thoroughly enjoyed. I don't know why. Is we finally watched Transformers 1. So they released the animated movie, yeah. So I was thinking,
okay.
So this is the beginning, I think, that we're trying to kickstart the franchise again to a point that maybe new generation introduction, blah, blah, blah. But because I think the comic books are really popular, and I was reading the first volume and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was like, but I never knew the beginning. So this movie is basically tells you the beginning. I know how factual whatever beginning before Transformers had, but this one, it was absolutely great to introduce you how Decepticons became and who is in charge of it. How Optimus Prime became the cool guy of the Optimus Prime was. It's basically that beginning of the whole thing kind of thing. So it was introduction to that, and I really liked it. Even though I'm not sure if Chris Hemsworth really needs to be the main voice of the character.
Okay.
Because he has that Australian, no matter how many times, he's probably the worst, to teach him accents. I think he's the only.
Yeah.
Because you still have that. He has that one thing he says, and you straight away know it's him. He's just the way is just so recognizable. But cast was great. But like Fishburne was there, Lawrence Fishburne, my Matrix guy, which I absolutely love. I love his voice, and I think he's completely cool for voice actors for the animated movie. Then Scarlett Johansson was there, and then now this guy, he's extremely hilarious, and my husband absolutely loves this show, and he has been in this kind of like American, completely bald African American guy, and he has this absolutely annoying voice, but he. And he's with another guy working. Oh my God, because I'm gonna really ruin my.
Happy New Year, Gore Vidal. Natalie Portman texted me Happy New Year at 12:01 in the morning. She didn't just roll over and say good Happy New Year. I didn't respond. I texted Kirsten Dunst Happy New Year at 12:04. She hasn't responded. She's been difficult. Happy New Year, Gore.
Cast. Come on, cast. The minute I will see the name. Oh yeah. Keegan-Michael Kay, that's why, because it's such too much. So he's
don't recognize that name at all.
Really? Okay, so and then Steve Buscemi is there, which is kind of hilarious, and John Hamm, the guy, he's there as well. So it's quite a big cast. So Keegan-Michael Kay works with. Just give me a second. My IMDb we're gonna work really quickly before. He's that guy who's been doing horror movies. Why don't you show me? I don't even know. I can't. I can't find it. It's so bad. I can't see. Anyway, Jordan Peele. So he works closely with Jordan Peele. So all this like sketch shows they do is always next to him. So if you watch any Jordan Peele sketch shows, Keegan-Michael Kay is there, and he is hilarious there. He has lots of good lines. My husband absolutely, he loves them. So he found it really hilarious when we were watching that. So really cool. I don't know, if you want to find out a bit more about Transformers, it's kind of good time to spend. Storyline wasn't bad. It was, had like a history, as I say, antagonist. We found out, like I said, who Decepticons finally are, and how they came to be, and how close that Optimus Prime and his relationship were. So yeah, really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Gore's LCS showed that Transformer film on their parking lot in November. A truck with a fold-out screen was rented. It was huge, good turnout. That's amazing that they would do that. That's such a great idea.
Exactly. Well, there you go. So he says it's good. And because I've been reading those Transformer comics, it's really like I got excited by it, because you got all of the characters. I was like having questions: who the hell this guy is? Why is he there? Like all those names, appears in the storyline, and if because you start reading something, you're not sure the history behind that, it's kind of opened it up a bit more. So it's kind of interesting. Screech was it Screech, the character of Steve Buscemi? It was really kind of weird to listen to his voice in that, because you expect a face straight away, because Buscemi is more for me like an actor kind of thing, not the voice acting much, but it was still really entertaining thing to watch.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
And
I can't
we
imagine
watched.
Buscemi as a transformer either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And we went to cinema as well. We watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And my son was absolutely ecstatic. He could not wait. He got, actually, for the first time I took my son, like asked my son to dress up, and he didn't take a second to actually get ready because he wanted to go. Because usually it's kind of like a houseworm kind of guy. He wants just to sit at home and do nothing. And then the minute I said Sonic the Hedgehog, he went bolted through the door. Like, come on, Dad, you're late. We're gonna be late in the movie, because I kind of like I was looking for tickets and they were sold out. Kind of interesting enough, especially at the time suitable for kids, because don't forget my son is still 6, turning 7.
Yeah.
So you don't want him to be too late and then be completely energized by the movie and doesn't have enough time to wind down before bedtime. That's just like asking, give me a shotgun and let's play Russian roulette and see how many times you have. Only 2. But anyway.
Yeah.
But so we went to Sonic the Hedgehog, and my son was absolutely ecstatic throughout the whole movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The Jim Carrey stuff was superb. He had, he's coming just to do that. But then I heard some other stories about Jim Carrey. Anyway, doesn't matter. I love Jim Carrey, and I think he's extremely suited for that kind of role. So he was Professor Egghead, whatever, if you know Sonic the Hedgehog.
I do, yeah.
And
I mean, I know a little.
And my son's like, when is the 4th coming? And I was like, son, we just watched the 3rd one, which is the premiere kind of thing week. And you want the 4th one. Yeah, like, hurry up, please. Kind of thing. So he absolutely loved it. Yeah.
And like you're saying, Sonic comics are popular at my LCS, one of the few comics kids ask for and read. Yeah, I mean, there's just certain things. It's just some magic that's in there that just appeals to kids. That's so great that they're asking for. We went to see Moana. We went to see Moana 2 last night. Was our
oh wow! I am the one who I would my husband and my son is like. So I'm kind of left alone, and I'm like, I'm not going to see Moana by myself. That's kind of weird. I need a child next to me, kind of thing.
Right.
But so how was it? I bet you guys.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was really great. I mean, Lily was like your son was. She was so excited about it. She couldn't wait. Cool. She's been bugging us for like a couple of weeks to go see. We got to go see it in the theater. We got to go see it in the theater. When are we going to see it in the theater? So yesterday was finally that day. So same kind of thing. Like, come on, we got to go. And then it was great. She liked it. I thought it was fantastic. I fell asleep maybe for 5 minutes during it, but that wasn't my
dad.
It was fun, and she loved it. She's already talking about wanting to rewatch the first one, and when does the second one come out on streaming, because I want to see it again. And so yeah.
Moana is my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah, it's good.
I think I watched it the most out of the old princesses movies. I think, The Brave is the second, of course, going to. But
yeah,
the Brave
is my favorite.
I cried. Brave cried a lot when Mom situation happened, but I sobbed my eyes out on the first one when the grandma died, and I could not. Every movie, I was like, okay, I know what's happening. I know exactly when it's going to happen. Surely my tears will not come out of my eyes. Nope. I bawled my eyes out again. I was like, come on, stop doing that to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the grandma part is like the worst, but and the movie itself is, I really like. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no, you'll love the second one. It's really great, and it looks like it's setting it up for a third one. So I mean, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
So I'm sure that there's still more in the works. I think they know they've got a good thing. So yeah.
Cool.
I wanted to go to see it. My son saw it already. I was supposed to go with the guys I used to bowl with. We were talking about going to see it together, but again, it's so hard to plan this shit over the holidays when you have a family. So I would like to see it in the theater. My son really enjoyed it. He said a couple of things that I don't want to say here because I don't know what everybody's level of not wanting spoilers is, but he said for the most part he thought it was really good. It wasn't like a mind-blowing film, but he did enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to seeing it actually. I really very much disliked The Northman. I thought it was a horrible movie. I wasn't that crazy about The Lighthouse, but I loved The Witch. And from what I'm hearing, Nosferatu is kind of like a return to form as kind of far as The Witch goes. I think Nosferatu was also one of those that he wanted to do early on in his kind of filmmaking career. That was something that was in the back of his head. Robert Eggers is the director's name. But yeah, Nosferatu, I really want to see. My son and I just watched Herzog's Nosferatu like a month ago or so. So I'm kind of in the mind space for it, as long as he didn't think it sucked. Yeah, no, he didn't think it sucked. So that's a good thing. No more so than a vampire already does, I suppose.
The only one that was curious to watch was The Lighthouse, but I never
Which one?
did.
Sorry?
The Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, Lighthouse, yeah.
But I didn't. I don't think I am into that, like scary / whatever that
Yeah,
like.
it wasn't really like it wasn't super scary. It almost was like it almost presented itself as like almost like a Shakespeare play to some degree. It was very much a play on film, and it had some scary-ish moments, but I think it's more like a little bit gruesome moments as opposed to like jump scares or like traditional horror. It's more of like a psychological horror of like you're locked in this room together with somebody and you got to deal with each other 24/7. It's that kind of, and I wouldn't even call that horror. That's just like, I don't know. That's just a challenge, I guess. So yeah.
Is it William Dafoe is in The Lighthouse?
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is in it, and then whoever else the other guy is, someone else famous whose name I can never remember, but it's Willem Dafoe. Yeah.
So instead, I watched Poor Things finally. We and my husband finally decided to watch Poor Things. So have you watched it? So
I haven't. No.
Emma Stone and William Dafoe was in there.
Oh, Poor Things. Yeah. Of course I have.
Poor
Things. Yes.
So we finally did it. And Mark Ruffalo. So I loved it. My husband was questioning quite a few things because he wanted the angle of the movie kind of thing. It's everything superb. I found it absolutely. I ticked the plot line ticked for me in every way possible. I found it a bit bizarre, the focusing on sex part because of like curiosity of that, but they're also kind of grossed out because if you know the movie, if you watched it, the way she gained her ability to live. I'm not trying to spoil, I don't know why, but anyway, the brain stuff, that freaked a little bit. It ticked in the wrong places several times, especially her discovery and who is like seeing her body, because this is the only body you see, but what's inside it, it's like a baby child kind of thing, and that's how she's became like. So it was very curious in that sense, but I loved the color choice. I loved any scenes they picked. I loved the ship they were in. That was one of my favorite parts of it, probably. And of course, the Paris, of course, grossed out most of the time. Part of the Paris because of the, like the grossness of the men and generally kind of like bizarre looking stuff. But it was just me. But I was in awe. I mean, I knew why they got the rewards they were given to them.
Yeah.
And her acting, I'm generally am big fan of hers, but this one just like, okay, she just absolutely let it out.
Yeah. That was a different level for her, for sure.
Yeah, because there was nothing like, vulnerabilities out and about. I mean, everything. I mean, the way she was pretending to be not, like a child and behaving completely nuts in that kind of sense. Just, I was like really enjoying that. I mean, generally that movie was like, I probably will watch once again sometime when I feel like having that moment. But the way they made it as a picturesque thing for you to enjoy it's just stunning. Honestly, everything was
the soundtrack is amazing as well too. Like I'm with you. Like I loved everything about the movie. She was also a producer on it as well too. So that's how much faith she had in this artist, basically, and wanted to kind of support this work. And she like really threw herself into that role for sure. I thought it was an incredible movie. My son turned us on to it. My son had seen it before we did. Herzog's version, you like Herzog's versions. And Isabelle Adjani, she's from Possession as well, right, Gore Vidal? That's that same woman that was in Possession or Possessed. I can't remember what it's called. I think Possession. Speaking of people throwing themselves into roles. So, I mean, I felt like she really just didn't hold anything back in Poor Things. She really just committed to it, which is, as an actor, I mean, if you're going to do a character like that, you kind of have to commit. You either do it as kind of like a shtick, or you really fully commit like she did, and it really pays off, I thought. So yeah, beautiful set design, everything about it was gorgeous.
I think William Dafoe's character was creepy, but that just really suited him, and that Frankenstein vibe to it, it was really well done, even though it's kind of like, it's funny how the Frankenstein looking professor or whatever he was, he turned into becoming like completely himself, like a Frankenstein looking thing, because of his dad absolutely obsessed by dealing with how people react to certain things, which is absolutely like, imagine doing that to your own child. I mean, it's just like, just like an extra level crazy you have to be in order to do so. But it's just like a part of the storyline which really worked, and I really liked William Dafoe's acting in generally. So this one is just like ticked. What about Mark Ruffalo? Do you like him in that kind of?
Mark, I'm not a huge Mark Ruffalo fan. I like him. I thought he was really, really funny in this role. Like, there was some really laugh out loud. Again, another guy that commit to the part, right? Like, there was some really good kind of slapstick moments in there, which and that's the thing that I loved about the movie. There was so much going on. It wasn't just a drama. It wasn't just a comedy. It was kind of, it had a nice mix of everything. It was really touching. It was kind of like this, fairy tale to some degree, right? And I loved seeing everything through her eyes. So there's like this sense of like wonder. So it's almost like a kid's movie in some weird twisted way, right? But yeah, Ruffalo was pretty good. Ruffalo is my wife's, that old saying of like, if you ever met one famous person, you get a pass. I think Mark Ruffalo is that one person for her. She's in love with Mark Ruffalo. So that's, and then Gore. Yes. So Possession, fantastic film. Possession is an intense movie, unbelievable performance by her. If you haven't seen her in Queen Margot, I don't think you'll just be disappointed. Cool. I don't know Queen Margot, so I'll have to check that out.
Cool. Well, there you go. I remembered everything I think of whatever it's worth mentioning to what I watched. I watched quite a few things, but I managed to tick some of the things that I wanted to. Like, the Poor Things were on my top list, and I kind of like always went a wayside. I thought like it's too much to concentrate about, but then that movie actually gets your attention straight away onwards if you at all interested in that kind of sort of thing. And from get-go to the end, I was like, I'm in. I want to know exactly how it is. I was very surprised because when she jumped off her mother jumped off from the bridge, I honestly felt that when she because they showed origins, basically how everything, explanation and everything in detail, I never kind of in my head from the beginning never like ticked boxes straight away that's how she became who she was, because I thought that he just revived her. So innocently thinking, oh, that's not going to be as bizarre as what they're intending to do. And they went completely bizarre and then used baby's brain to possess her body and stuff like that. Which is honestly, in some places it's just like, it makes me a little bit just like shaky in a way because of, if that would happen kind of thing. Really? Could it be? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, right. But it's also good to see, like, as you get older, it's hard not to get to a point of like nothing new is being created anymore.
Yes.
So it's good to be reminded, like, especially in film and stuff, that there's still some people out there that are creating some things that are unique. Yes, they're kind of throwbacks to other films and other directors and things, but it's still that they're trying to present you with something. It's nice to be reminded that there's still filmmakers out there that are trying to present you with something that is not, and it's in the mainstream, I think, is the other part of that sentence. Like, that was a very kind of mainstream movie to some degree, considering who was in it and things. I think it made the rounds kind of more mainstream as opposed to like some art house film. So it's good to be reminded of that kind of stuff. That these people are still out there.
I'm still amazed by that designer, whoever the set designer, the clothing designer, whoever's in charge of that stuff.
That's a lot of work.
I was like, because it felt not very unique, but it felt unique to the way the placement were used, the camera shots, angles, especially to make it look taller, let's say, or wider, all that kind of stuff. It's just like so pretty to look at.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It was like, oof, that's especially that kind of stuff. Like, especially if you get the right colors. And the way they were introducing you, like plainly black and white at the beginning, I was like, okay, I didn't know this was going to be plain like black and white. I was kind of surprised by
and then
it.
it
But then,
explodes.
yeah, and then it shows you everything, whatever it is, and then end up being the colors. Like, so, because what I was hoping, are we trying to say that London is that gloomy kind of thing? Like, it doesn't have any color whatsoever. But anyway, so yeah, really cool movie. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Did Santa give you anything for Christmas? Comic related, I meant.
I got
Christmas
I got
Christmas.
Blam number 3 that I finished.
Oh, you
reading.
did. Oh.
Yeah, so I got that. What else did I get comic wise? I don't think I got anything else comic wise. I did get a gift card to a bookstore, and I was gonna buy comics, but instead they had a board game that I've been wanting for a long time called Root. So I ended up buying it, a family board game, like it's for all of us basically in the family. And then, like I said, I hit this sale, so I've got some stuff that I'll be talking about today that I read from that sale that I hit. But one thing I wanted to, I brought this down to show you. This is what I ended up getting for my daughter. The
I've seen that. So wow, I heard that it was sold out quite quickly in somewhere.
Oh, is that true? This was 2023 is when this came out.
Because I remember looking for it, because I've never thought, because when they make slip cases, they say, but they usually have a paperbacks. This is hardcover ones, aren't they?
Yeah, hardcover.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think I never found that specific print option. That looks stunning.
It's beautiful. So, we read a few stories from it. So this is all the Fantagraphic stuff. So we read, because we've read a bunch of it already. So we had already read kind of like this much already. So we tucked in later stories. Actually, that's
black and white,
where we started. It's all black and white.
Oh, wow.
So the stories that we're on right now, it's the Shogun's Gift. It's this kind of multi-chapter story that we're kind of digging into now. So one of the things I wanted to show you, though, we were looking through it last night or 2 nights ago, because we read a few of the stories 2 nights ago. In the second book, they have a ton of backup material. And again, understand, for people that are watching now or later, I'm just like I'm kind of new to the world of Usagi Yojimbo. So there's things that I didn't know about. And one of the things that I didn't know about was that
new for me.
This was Usagi Yojimbo.
What?
Early days. Yeah. Usagi Yojimbo was going to be a character in a multi-part story he was going to create, which was supposed to be about 1,200 pages. And this Usagi was going to appear at some point and then end up dying in it. And then they show you the first drawings, the first sketches of what Usagi was going to look like originally. So he quickly turned into a rabbit. So when he decided to kind of put the first pages down, he did a short story with Usagi, and that's the character that kind of stuck, even though he was only supposed to be a part of this overarching, like this gigantic kind of story.
It looks cute.
He's now done, at the time of this, or his forward in the first book, 5,000 pages or something, I think is what he said, with Usagi. So it has all this fantastic backup material in it. It's also got, let's see, it has a couple of Ninja Turtle short stories that Usagi appeared in, so they included those as well too. And then it's of course got the cover gallery at the back as well. So it's a really fantastic book. It's put together really well, and it's just nice to have all of this Fantagraphic stuff in one spot. And funnily enough, just before the holidays, I bid on, there was an auction on YouTube, on eBay for all of the Fantagraphics books that I was collecting. These volumes, the original Fantagraphics soft covers. Someone had an auction for all 7 of them for a ridiculously cheap price. So I threw in a low bid, thinking like, I think I threw in a bid of like $70. Thinking that there's no way I'm going to get those, because there's a couple of volumes that I'm having a hard time getting. 4 and 5 for some reason are really expensive. Each of those are probably around the $60 or $70 mark. Ended up winning all 7 of them. So they're on their way in the mail. Yeah, for like dirt cheap. So I was kind of stunned, to be honest, because I really didn't expect to win them, but I just figured I'd throw a bid in just in case. It was before Christmas. I thought maybe people wouldn't be paying attention to their eBay. Turns out I was right. The other bonus is that it was a seller Turns out it was a seller in Canada as well too, so that made the cheaping way cheaper. So like it was really like a kind of like Christmas miracle, you know, it was a Christmas miracle. So I mean, I'm really excited to get those. So I'll have some doubles of some of those books. So I'll put them aside and I'll put them in a pack for a future version of yourself. I'll put some stuff together.
Wow.
But I'm super excited. I mean, I have the whole thing. So now Lily's got her volumes and then I've got my volumes because I love the present, like as much as I love the hardcover, I love the presentation of these soft covers. And I love like the old Fantagraphic stuff. I love having that stuff in my library already. So it'll be nice to kind of have the full set. But reading it with her is still so much fun. Like we read 3 stories in a row. My wife kind of tuned in at the end and was listening, and she was kind of digging it as well. So it's just no surprise. It's just such good stories. They're so good to read with Lillian, like to read out loud. So I hope she ends up keeping these with her for her till she's an adult and kind of reading them with her kids. That's the intention of buying her this box set. At some point, I'd love to meet the guy. It would be great to get him to personalize it inside for her or something would, I think, be fantastic. So, but who knows? Maybe someday I'll see him at a convention.
Well, you have to cross the border to go to some conventions because it does do that quite often, actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, so how was her reaction? Did she enjoy it? Was she surprised?
Oh yeah, she was surprised. It's really, really heavy, right? So she picks it up, it's wrapped. She's like, what the heck is this? She just had no idea that it was coming, and then opened it up and kind of squealed. So yeah, like we read it almost right away, kind of tucked into it together. So
that's really nice. I mean, that's why the slipcase hardcover of Calvin and Hobbes I have is always were. When I got it in the first place, like child thinking about having the child, and now Rokas is actually reading with my husband, which is absolutely adorable because he gets really excited about it. So it's kind of like I like those kind of slipcases, kind of like I want them to keep in family as long as it's possibly possible.
Yeah,
hopefully, because at the end of the hardcovers last longer. Let's hope we're going to maintain them as well as we can possibly do. But it's just it seems to be he's loving it as well. So it's just exactly intending on kind of things like that as well. So it's nice to hear.
I mean, I've still got a Winnie the Pooh book that my dad bought when I was really little for me. You know what I mean? Like I've still got it. So because that's some of my favorite stories, and I've read them with my kids as well too. I ended up buying them their own volumes and kind of personalizing it inside myself because they're such fantastic stories to read out loud to your kids.
Yeah.
They're so funny. The flow of the language is just really gorgeous. Really, really great. Hello and welcome to the future. So I have hopes that she'll hold on to it because that's kind of how we are. Her library actually is grown quite a bit. She's got quite a few bookshelves in her room, which is great. She's really, and it all starts with that, like reading to her, right? Like it's so important to read to your kids, so important.
Exactly. So that's cool. Oh, I'm glad to hear. That's so nice. Okay, I'll show you.
Happy New Year, Paulo Costa.
Yeah, Happy New Year. So this is what I wanted.
Oh.
So this is the volume 2, and I got it. Oh, I haven't even opened it from the thingy sleeve.
Still wrapped in plastic, eh?
Yeah, because I was distracted by other thing I got. I can't show it to you because it's a miniature building I'm doing, but it's like like they make from like a miniature greenhouse basically.
Oh, okay.
And you have to build everything from like paper and all kind of stuff, and they provide you with already pre-cut wood for your like greenhouse and stuff like that. So that basically almost Christmas time I almost like frustratingly was building flowers, and honestly, can I tell you one thing? Not my favorite thing to do. It wasn't my favorite thing to do, but I was surprised. So they're fresh unwrapping this, so I haven't even seen myself. But yeah, like your iconic look for what they do for the omnibus.
And you said this is volume 2?
Yeah, so I did volume 1 and I always wanted this one. And then you still have all this slew of artists continuously being here. So Dave Stewart, Stephen Green, Jason Armstrong, Tonchi Sonchik, Rkudi, Tony Zetsula, I'm probably going to butcher all the names, Peter Snowsberg, Ben Stenbeck, Troy Nixey, and Kevin Nolan, Matthew Dow Smith, who worked
Troy
on
Nixey,
this.
nice.
So yeah, so this is the first story by Troy Nixey. Nixey?
Yes,
Nixey?
he's great. Yeah, Troy Nixey. I think it's Troy. I think it's Nixey. I really like his art a lot.
Oh look, Christmas special. I should have read it before. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was Christmas. Look, Santa's getting in trouble. Oh, he's a bit of a he likes a drink. Those times. That's really cool. Anyway, so it was. I really like the stories. I like the way I've written. They're like drawn really, really well, and it's like pulp feeling to them as well, which is one of my things. Okay, Tony Fetsula, I think. This is the guy who is going to be a next story. Really cool. I'm very pleased. Oh, nice and colorful, this one. Wow, it's really popping on the screen.
Yeah, it really does.
It looks... That is like usually what really happens. The Gunza comes out and it's just like... You see how many cracks, eh? Terence, just for you. Crack, crack. And then, yeah, lots of it. So Tony Zonchik is like quite a lot of them in here. It's really good artist as well for this realm. Ooh, this is cool. Who's that? Pirates Ghost Chapter 2. So anyway, so that's quite interesting looking. But anyway, I'm looking forward to have it. I'm now can relax and not say, because I usually, like sometimes you have something on the volume 1 and then like you think, volume 2 is going to be available. But I just sometimes, like I just wanted to tick it off and have it. And because I was reading that first volume and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, even Magnola himself is here.
Oh, sweet.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
This is exactly what you want. You just, look at this. It's looking really good. Like, love these lines he's picking. It's so good at stuff. And of course, extras. So the pencils, lines, you get a lot. It's like several pages for you.
Even in those soft covers, they do a really good job. The BPRD soft covers, they do a good job of sketches and things in the back.
And of course, cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's crazy looking guy. Fish guy. Fish eyes. Oh, and pencils as well. It's kind of really interesting. And also there's explanations, which I really like. And figure out the look of it, blah, blah, blah. It's really cool. Don't like that. I don't like this book covers.
Yeah, the dust jacket. Dust
jackets are annoying, and they were usually the ones to crease quite quickly. But the beauty of this, because it's Dark Horse printing. Ta-ta.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
It's just what you want.
Where's Damien when you need him?
That is just...
Yeah, that's really nice.
The eyelet thing is superb. So you got possessed. And also...
As it should be.
Yeah, to my surprise, in a way, what is this? Got a new pad.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm already doing something. Haven't finished reading it, but I'm reading this.
Oh, what is that one?
Oh, it's really cool, actually. Story. It's 1970s based off of San Francisco story, which is exactly ticks everything what I like. And it's about Satanism, kind of killing, murdering females and leading them by the tree and describing the Satanism star on their body. And it's called American Paranoid, and it's French, I think, because there's creators Bernice and Varela. So it's very difficult, by the way, to get hold of digital comics as I was, because Comixology is like crashed completely and stuff like that. So it's like kind of interesting how the digital world of comic books is existing. Like you have to subscribe, or DC or Marvel or Dark Horse has their own website where they sell digital comic books.
Right.
IDW sells the same thing, but it's just like you have to go through like almost like everywhere. But Europe Comics, which doesn't exist anymore.
Is that Europe Comics?
Yeah. I don't know how, but they're producing new 2024. So Hirsch Buris and art and color by Lucas Varela. Translation by Matt Madden.
I can't seem to find it.
Oh, isn't it? Anyway.
Interesting. I mean that cover looks fantastic.
Look at the art. I'll show you the art. This is the art.
I mean, it looks pretty sharp. It's hard to tell totally, but
yeah, it's a bit shiny for me on my screen to show. Well, maybe
it's so new, such a new shiny iPad. That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's based really well. Like as I say, like art style is great. The storyline is so far it was 2-parters as well. So if you type in American Paranoid, Europe Comics, I think you should come out.
Yeah, I did, and nothing comes up. It's really weird. I kept it in my search bar. I'll just look up Europe Comics Company later on because I know I've seen their website before. So yeah, cool. That looks pretty great.
Yeah, so one of the things, and of course I read a couple of the stories, but it's not really. Well, I mean, there's a chunk of the stuff we can talk about in here. We can. So do you want me to kick off again as well?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Yeah.
So my Sam and Twitch finally here
nice.
because I am in like receiving comic books kind of like sparingly. Oh, Parano. It's French, yeah.
Yeah, American Parano in French, yeah.
Yeah. So Sam and Twitch part 1 new case begins, which is great. Because the previous one is done, and this is it starts really well again. I really enjoy Twitch Sam and Twitch stories so far. It's very simple. Sam is gunning for this guy literally in the first couple of pages. He's deciding how he's gonna be. Apparently, I'm not sure if I haven't read that much Sam and Twitch, but Sam is the Twitch is. Who's Sam? I'm mixing them anyway. So he's extremely good at shooting, and he's basically deciding where to shoot, how to kill, blah blah blah. He ends up killing the guy, and he's absolutely astounded what happened. And in the situation when the coppers kill somebody, of course, there's investigation. He then stands because the guy only wields the gun, the knife. There's nothing really, but he felt like he's gonna injure somebody else, so he needs to be defending. So he basically supposed to shoot him in the shoulder, but ends up shooting through his eyeball, and the guy dies. And there's an investigation now. He's left to go home, on administration leave and stuff like that. And then there's some other things unravels. He still struggles with his wife and family life. Apparently wife is wanting to go on holidays, finds the time to do so. And his friend Sam, I think Twitch. So yeah, Twitch is the guy, and Sam is kind of keeps him in there, trying to find him, kind of console him. But he's like, I'm not sure what's going on with me. And he's like, we are partners. We're supposed to help each other. And then he's basically end up having to do a birthday party in the same week. He's not sure how to deal with that situations. Also, he's going to a psychologist who is basically, asking all those questions so you don't want to answer. And then there's something else happening surrounding this. And the thing which makes me excited is the man who he shot, who was still looking alive, dealing the bad things, apparently supposed to have died 2 days ago. And this is the mystery of the story. So it's interesting, intriguing, see how it's going to happen and where it is. And as entertaining, $2.99 price tag, and I'm thinking to get some other. I'm keep on looking to see if I can hold off some other books in this line, because why not? They produce really well. They doesn't cost a fortune, and so we'll see.
Paulo has some stuff about the creators there of your previous book. Borges seems to be prolific, doing a lot of humor, both mainstream and off the cuff. Lucas Varela was active in Argentina for a long time. He worked with Carlos Trio and did newspaper cartoons. And then they have another graphic novel called Le Labo in French. Seems to be about drugs. Cool.
Interesting. Because as I say, I was
Paulo. Thank you, Paulo.
Yeah, I was looking to see, because back having that. Because I really missed. What are you doing? I'm okay.
I don't know.
You don't.
Hold on, can you still hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it says your Comic Rack is only audio. What did you happen to?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Your camera is not working. It seems to be.
Yeah, it says it's unplugged, but it's not unplugged. Plugged in. Let me see. Yeah, you keep talking and I'll figure this out here.
Yeah, so the digital comic books realm is not as easy. You type in, I would like to buy digital comics on Google, and there's like hundreds of pages that opens up, and there's lots of ways. Oh, the first thing, of course, you have those Marvels and DCs, which I'm well aware of that. But when I want something specific like that, it's not like always easy to find it and go. Of course, there's a Amazon/Kindle because Comixology doesn't exist, so I could go route via that. But then when you look for it, it's not really kind of friendly kind of thing. You also have to have an app in order to scroll properly what they have.
Right.
So it's just becoming kind of like quite a thing. And then as I say, come across some things. I looked it through, and yeah, it's kind of. I don't know how they make money digital comic books these days, to be honest. Because I think mainly you go in to find an artist you like, and then you follow them through some things, and they go through their cartel, like they have their own website, click on there. But then this is how you're not really exposing a lot of people like randomly. It's like randomly, let's type in I want digital comics books to read, and the first thing comes up. Tell you one thing, which is not great, is the like download and just read or read online kind of thing, whatever you feel like it. Catalogs are plenty, like illegal. I'm talking illegal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So it's like you can do whatever. You read whatever you want, and it's easy. And then when you want to actually support and go through that, go Marvel, which is monthly format, like almost like subscribing to Netflix or everything like that, or DC is the same thing. And it's just like, that's not making it easy. It's supposed to be easy things to go through. You have to be able to find them. Or maybe it's just the way I do it. It's not, I don't know, maybe I'm not typing something right, but it was kind of interesting because it's been a while. So I was like, I like reading something before sleep. And I used to be remembering how much I was reading before, before iPad gone kaput for me. And now I have it back. So it's kind of like, this is actually quite nice in the ways. There's always something else I can actually, treat my eyes to comic books rather than me kind of like just, waiting for these. But then at nighttime, sometimes I don't want the light on before I go to sleep. I just want something in that time, that moment, just to scroll my eyes through something and find something new. So I went to Europe Comics, and somehow they're still selling stuff.
That's awesome.
But I'm not sure if it's correct way of dealing. I don't know, because they keep on saying this is a huge banner on their website. We're not working anymore. We don't do business. Kind of thing.
Right.
So anyway, so it's kind of interesting the way that world ends.
I mean,
but
it's out there. You can get it. Like even the manga stuff, there's fan made translations and things like that, right? Like the kayfabe guys used to talk about it, and some out of print underground comics I've gotten from like Soulseek, you know what I mean? Just a CBZ file or a CBR file just to kind of read the comics, right? Just to kind of see that stuff. Because it's not easy to get all the time, right? So it's nice to have that world accessible, even if it is just digital, not in your hand, right?
When the Comixology was booming in that time, I remember, it should be very easy. You just go in there, type in what you're looking for, and there's like hundreds of stuff coming out for you, and you just click the button, finished, you're done, you're reading next. This is how it's supposed to be, but then they've all branched out to their own stuff, like Marvels are doing their own thing. DC finally introduced that to Europe, their own thing. Like comics, digital comic books, and they're not too bad. I mean, like DC comic books offering $6.99 for month, and I don't know how much you can actually absorb in a month time. But sometimes you spend almost $5 for just one thing. So it's kind of like you can whatever. Like it's not really bad when it comes to those two main like things. Image comic books, I don't even know how to look for those. But Kindle has it. Sorry, Kindle do have it, I think. As far as what, but all of them are old. Nothing like fresh and new. Whatever I've seen, because I didn't do it long. I just when I had like a couple of times to do that. But anyway, that's my exploration on that realm again.
Cool. I mean, it's good to find stuff again. you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
that Europe Comics, what I've seen from Europe Comics has been pretty cool. And I do remember, I think we've had this conversation before. I do remember at one point seeing like a physical Europe Comics book at the bookstore, but this is years ago at this point. This is many years ago. So
I even typed in to see like Europe Comic Books physical publishing, who's doing like maybe just look for company's name so I can go to the company's name website. Nothing. It's just that there's no information. So
yeah,
because
right.
you never know, because there is so much going on in Europe when it comes to production of comic books, but nothing is translated to English, and that's where you struggle. But then you have that company who was doing at UWork, Animal Castle. What is that publishing house?
Yeah, Ablaze. Yeah.
Ablaze. So they do some certain things, not all of it. So, and Ablaze had this offer as well on a thing website, I think, or I don't know where it's seen that they offering like 3 things for the price of 1 or something. Just for people just to see in Christmas special. I think that was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they were selling.
If you're ever curious about Ablaze, check out the old geezers. Fucking hilarious. Really, really good. So if you're ever curious about Ablaze, that's one I could recommend. For
sure. The minute you showed it to me, that was already, I actually forgotten now, but the minute you mentioned, I knew exactly the yellow cover. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's great stuff, man. Really funny.
Very cool.
So I don't know how I missed this when it came out, but when I went to this comic shop to partake in his sale, up on the shelf was Friday book number 3.
I've not read it.
So the final chapter. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Am I there? I think I froze.
Yeah,
I
can see. We can
Ethernet
see you.
is plugged in.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, good, because it completely froze on my side here. That's weird. It's back now. So book number 3. So it's the final chapter in this series here. I think it's issue 7 to 9 or something. Maybe I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's 7 to 9. I don't want to talk too much about it because heavy spoilers, because this is how the story wraps up. So I'll only show you the first kind of section of it. And the one thing that I'll say is Ghostface 1001, Happy New Year, welcome. I loved this series. Really, really loved it. And one of the biggest draws for me was Marcos Martin's artwork, and the coloring is beautiful. It's such a great little story. What I will say about this final volume, it was a little bit of a letdown. We start dealing with some things in storytelling that I feel sometimes are a little cheap. So if we remember at the end of book number 2, she gets this watch and it takes her through time. She starts time traveling. So that's all I'll tell you about that. So we get the old time traveling trope.
Oh no.
And it's still a good read. It was still a fun book. And by the end of it, I was kind of drawn back in. I feel like the last kind of half a dozen pages especially are super cool. And it really kind of, again, it puts it in this place of like, this is kind of the mystery writing that you would have read when you were a kid, right? Like the Hardy Boys and things like that, right? Like it's that style of storytelling. And I think it's really great. It's one of the newer books that gets me excited again about Ed Brubaker's writing, because I think he really knocks it out of the park on this one. I'll show you a couple of pages where we get a blast of color here as things kind of start opening up here. So it's still really, really good. Overall, I really like the series a lot. And I want to reread it now that I've read the whole thing. This one might be kind of fun to read with Lillian, because it's not super, super intense. But I'm so glad he had multiple copies on the shelf. And like I said, I'm not sure how I missed it. I was sure that I put it on my League of Comic Geeks pull list, but for some reason it got missed out. So really not the most satisfying ending that I was hoping for, but still a good ending to a really good read. And I would still recommend all 3. It's not like this was a total letdown. It just kind of wavered a little bit, I feel, at the end to kind of put everything together. But I also love these formats. They're really nice, kind of small, slim formats. They look perfect together, so they did a really nice job on this stuff. Image did a really nice job on putting that stuff together. And I hope there's a little write-up with him at the end. Brubaker is talking about how much he enjoyed writing this, and he says there's other stories potentially. He's not committing to anything yet. This was never supposed to be a long-running series. It was just supposed to be this. But I think with Brubaker, I think the way his mind works, there may be a time where he kind of comes back to this character, which I would be all up for as well too, if he did kind of revisit this world. So yeah,
he did slow down for a bit because the Criminal TV series, I guess, probably taking his time away.
Yeah,
because he I guess he gets quite involved in that one, because I think he wanted to be involved in that one before that.
Thank God he's involved in it.
Yeah, because I mean, series like that. I mean, if you haven't read Criminal, I recommend the first thing you read from the Brubaker and Sean Phillips run all this stuff. I like it about Marcus Martin on that series, and I was waiting until my library could get hold of that volume, because of I read it all. That's how I read it. This is actual comic book which came digitally first. And that's right. Another website which you have to go look if you want some other things, which is called Panel Syndicate. And that's how they offer. You also have, they are quite nice in order to you can offer us whatever price you feel like you need to pay for this. Sometimes most of the people say $0 and blah, 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 download it and here you go, he reads it. But yeah, this is the one who came out digitally first, and you could read it quite quickly. And I think it was finished digitally quite early. And then they start producing this in single format, and then they stopped doing in singles.
They did one single. It was a free comic book day promo kind of thing, because that's the first time that I saw it. And then they started doing these books, the 3 volumes of the books.
I still have it because you sent it to me.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Because I had a second copy. I think I sent you, right?
Yeah. You even I left the sticker on because who says Canadian stuff dollars on it, so we can. Special collector's issue, yeah. So they have this way, and then they did that local comic book shop day exclusive. That's what it was. Anyway, anyway, so I was wanted to read that way. So I guess I always, even though it's plastered white right in front of me, because when you see it every single day, I guess you forget about it. So anyway, I want to read that. Now you can show me. I'm probably going to
It's good, man. It's good.
The web.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, even though there was a little bit of disappointment with the way the story maybe went, there was enough happening there that kept me interested in it. It didn't kind of tap me out of it completely. Yeah. It was more of a moment of oh man, oh well, here we go. Let's just keep reading. You know what I mean? So, and again, I think it kind of makes sense if you look at it from the lens of a preteen kind of mystery novel kind of deal, right? This is that kind of world. It's yes, there's the odd F-bomb here and there, and she smokes cigarettes. But I mean, other than that, it's not supposed to be a hardcore mystery for mystery buffs who are in their 40s and 50s, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and also, the teenagers these days, instead of cigarettes, they will have a vape.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Which is another thing, another change of life for you. So very good character though. I forgot her name. Friday.
Super good character. She's great, and her name is Friday. Yeah. She's really great in it, and she's kind of she's fantastic in this one. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, cool. Well, at least thank you for not spoiling, because I was looking. I don't know if I would remember, but it's good not to have that at the back of my head, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I finally wanted to read this for a long time, and also wanted to collect it originally, but I ended up having a facsimile. So Guy Gardner's first appearance and Green Lantern in 59. Now this is shooting up in price tag original, I mean, due to the Superman trailer. And because because you see him there.
Oh, I haven't watched that Superman trailer.
I thought you because you're the trailer guy, so I thought you.
I am the trailer guy. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
So the Superman trailer came out, and the Guy Gardner appeared in it, and then this book is actually rising in value. Originally one, and I think that's why they have a facsimile out now. But I'm glad I have it finally, because the way DC does it, they completely reprints it the way it came out in that day. And I was surprised how his origin came. So it's not really what it would have been, the kind of story, what if kind of story for DC based in that time, because Hal Jordan is telling you a story where he goes to the OA and the Guardians are having this super crazy machine where it tells you what would happen in Abisur would land on Earth, and instead of Hal Jordan, he would pick Guy Gardner. And basically, this is his first appearance, how they decided to come about. Gil Kane is on art, which is splendid. And John Broome is on... Oh, Gil Kane and Sid Green on art, so I don't know how much Gil Kane is there and Sid Green involves. And John Broome is the writer of the storyline. But you have if you know the Green Lantern story, how Hal Jordan became one, they kind of remind you once again in here, the finding of Hal Jordan, who is worthy and stuff. They also have this nice, as I say, everything is like kind of in the comic books. The paper is absolutely splendid. I absolutely love it. You not see the gloss, which is cool, spectacular. Yeah. I love it. I love the the feel for your fingers. So basically, they show the Hal Jordan's first, and then they show you this machine where Abisur is finding Guy Gardner, a physics. What is he? A teacher of physical educational instructor. That's how they call them in here. So because apparently there was two of them, two Earthmen who suitable to become a Green Lantern, but because Hal Jordan was quicker to approach, like in distance, to Abisur because he was about to die, he was chosen first. But in this alternative reality, Guy Gardner became one, and they showing you what he would have done if he would have been Green Lantern. And honestly, surprising enough, because Guy Gardner is known to be a dick. Sorry for my language, but in the Green Lantern universe, because he's outspoken, he's like unruly kind of thing character. But in here, it's like really kind of like heroic, as you would expect Green Lanterns to be. They're showing his that he's even managed to defeat our Sinestro, which is what Hal Jordan always struggled, but in the same ways has achieved. But also, while he was traveling back from his glory, he ended up going into this place next to Earth where kids, a place called Grom, I don't know, remember the name of that, where the place is doesn't have adults and only kids who in charge playing war games with the robots, and he's trying to go in there to kind of like find what's happening, and those kids manages to control his brain, and he becomes the posse to deal with that situation, kind of in playing the game. But Guy Gardner managed just to save the day somehow. And but what happens to him while he done this good deed? He comes back home, and then he gets the plague, why this destroyed yellow fever is called. And yellow, if you know, in Green Lantern lore, is not very good for Green Lanterns. They are really weak towards it, almost like opposite to kryptonite kind of thing. And he got the fever, and he about to die. And Hal Jordan still ended up being a Green Lantern. And Hal Jordan, to be him, it's like, oh, you know what? I would have been like, I'm meant to be a Green Lantern. I am the one who is basically number one. But then he's end up going to actually just meet Guy Gardner because he was so curious about this human, what he's seen in this machine, and I wanted to actually in real life kind of found out this person all about, and they became kind of like friends and stuff like that. But then I'm gonna keep an eye on you, because just in case I need somebody, I guess I know who to go to now. So, and that's how the story ended. Really cool. I absolutely love this. I wanted to know how this came. I was surprised that he was introduced this way. Like maybe they just tried out some things to see how it is, but then he ended up being in the lore of Green Lanterns and quite prominent roles in some ways, and just being annoying, quite annoying. And the way Nathan Fillion looked in the trailer was kind of funny, because he had a bowl cut. Because there is Guy Gardner's infamous look is bowl cut, or orange hair bowl cut, and the leather jacket. I'm not sure if they're gonna go for that. I don't know if I've seen that really well. I'm surprised they picked Nathan Fillion for Guy Gardner's role, because I also feel like the actor, he always have been kind of like very good sometimes. I've never seen him like being an ass. I mean, I've been seeing him as an ass, but you know, like Firefly, you kind of like, you know, start to compare him to whatever else he has done. But I'm not sure what James Gunn is going to do anyway. But we'll see.
Jesus, does that mean I'm gonna have to watch a Superman movie? Like, oh my God, Nathan Fillion, my
well,
man.
well, I don't know. If check the trailer, see,
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Yeah.
It's like I've seen many things, lots of opinions about that as well, about the trailer.
Of course there is. Yeah.
They also said there is like a early viewing. Like I don't know, they do that as well. Like early,
sorry,
like
say it again. There's early what? Sorry.
Like people comes to see it. So
Oh,
early,
yeah.
early
like so whatever. Yeah.
There you go. That's the word I should have used. So, and apparently that's not very good, but who knows how much that's true from, because, and then also I saw some cut of the trailer and what they showed, and actually was kind of Henry Cavill's Superman's kind of similar screenshots. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. I only make an opinion when I see the movie, and then I can see for myself. The trailers is not something I wanted to completely see. I actually watched it. I watched the trailer, but then I watched Lego. They made a Lego looking trailer, like exactly what they did. It was hilarious to watch that, so I watched that instead. And I was like, "Oh, that's actually quite a cool movie. I'm gonna watch it." So I have a problem with Suit. My husband, because original Superman movie. Oh my God, blanking his name. What's his name?
Christopher Reeves.
Yes. Yeah. So he's slender looking Superman, yes? This guy looks exactly the same, but they chose to put that sponges in his arms to make him look a bit bigger. And I cannot unsee that. I see sponge. I don't see muscle.
Yeah.
Whereas Henry Cavill, you can clearly see muscle, So I don't know what you want from it. Or is it part of the usage, how it just looks now, and what you see in the movie is going to be different? Because if you pick slender, just keep slender, yeah. Don't make it up to be like a bit bigger just because you put some sponge in one side or another one, because it just looks awful. If you want to go one route, just go one route. Like Christopher Reeves, per example, wasn't the biggest guy in the world, wasn't he?
No,
he never looked biggest, but this is what we liked and enjoyed it. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
But I think costumes and shit they struggle with in general putting these movies out, because I mean, let's face it, if you went directly from the comics 90% of the time, it would look just ridiculous. You'd never be able to get into the movie, I don't think, because they just look absurd, So trying to make a cool looking costume has got to be tough.
I mean, one like I say, repeat myself. Henry Cavill looked stunning. Honestly, the chest and all that, like he worked his ass off to become what it was there when he was doing it, and everybody was raving about it because at the end of the day, you see the man investing in the role and he's doing his bestest to become, but he has the body to fit that. He seems to be naturally, he can bulk up and blah blah blah. Not every single one can, the actors who chose to do the actings, but then you chose the guy, then go that route rather, But I say, it's just a speculation. You never know what James Gunn's movie will be. Is it going to flop? Everybody's always saying it's going to flop because it's DC movie, even though it's like a biggest universe, and they ended up, he's been given the reins to do whatever they're going to do now. And I'm wishing all the best.
If anybody can do something, it'll be him. But I mean, like, you're never going to please the hardcore nerds. They're just not going to be happy no matter what it is, right? So which at that point, that's when you just don't even bother trying. And I feel like if anybody's going to do his own thing, regardless of what the fans think, I feel like James Gunn is going to be that guy who's just going to say, I don't fucking care what your opinion is. This is the movie I'm making. You're either going to like it or you're not. Whatever. He's still getting paid for it, so.
It's funny how they introduced him like James Gunn, the creator of trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Keep on advertising Galaxy. It's like Marvel.
Yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, I mean, those were such fun movies, man. Like he really made those something to see. I mean, we loved them like a family. We watched those together, obviously, and we all loved them. So
the first one was spectacular. I was like really happy. The soundtrack made me feel like a child because of the Walkman he was wearing. It's just like spectacular, honestly. Yeah, everything. And he used it, but then that was new. So I think what is bad for him now is people's, like they say, superhero fatigue stuff is present, clearly. And now you want to do something bombastic when it comes to DC universe. So I don't know if you hope he does, like what you say, he has absolute no damn whatever people thinking, and he's just gonna spew out whatever he thinks the Superman movie has to look like. And I hope so, because the actors, the Lois Lane actress I like, because she was in Prime comedy series where she was a stand-up character. I forgot the name of that, but anyway, she's really good actress. I really like her. I think I watched that kind of thing with her, and she has the whole kind of like abilities to do whatever she can. So I don't know about Superman whatsoever. The guy who is the, I don't even know any names, as you can clearly hear, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But another exciting part is the dog's gonna appear.
The what? Sorry.
The dog.
Oh, there's the super dog is in it.
Yeah. So I spoiled basically the trailer. The dog is appearing. So
hilarious.
So that's hilarious in part. So because none of the movies had his dog, or what is his name? Keep on.
Fuck if I know. Yeah, Rex probably or something.
No, something weird. No,
Spot.
No. I forgot. And nobody's saying on the comment. It help us here, but anyway. So I will see. Have a look at the trailer. See,
I'll check it out for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
So these next few I got there are from the sale that I went to. He has a bunch of back issues, and he had a whole bunch of like just random boxes. And if there's nothing I love more, it's a bunch of random boxes. So I got this, I think for like $1, called Heart of Weirdness. And it screams Brandon Graham, but surprise, surprise, it isn't. It's a guy, an artist that goes by the name Alchemical, not alchemical, but Alchemical.
Oh, wow.
And apparently, I think that it was, I can't remember if it was the writer or the artist. One of the two of them were fans of the Brandon Graham Island anthology. That's what got them to decide to kind of create comics. But again, I don't remember if it was the writer or the artist. And they had some stuff within Island and then put this book out. So this is kind of like, it's a sci-fi apocalypse now is basically what this story is. It's so hard to, the thing that I found reading this was, as I was reading it, it just kept reminding me so much of Brandon Graham that I ended up just thinking through the whole story. I really wish I was reading a Brandon Graham comic instead. It's so much that style. Like it really, it's hard not to think of like, you're just fucking stealing someone's style, man. It's a fine enough book. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Touches like this are really nice. I like the shadow on his eyes. I think that's really nicely done.
Looking at a panel.
So there's a lot of good moments in it for sure. But if I want to read a Brandon Graham comic, I'll pick up a Brandon Graham comic, sort of. So I just want to kind of, because it drifts right into these ones as well, because I don't have too much to say about them. So then I found these as well in a same bin, and that is James Stocco doing the cover. It's Alchemical again is involved in this, but this one actually has Brandon Graham, Simon Roy, Farrell Dalrymple. Those are the three big names. Yeah. So this was an interesting anthology. I think there was 3 single issues that came out, and eventually it got collected into a book. So we start out with Alchemical and then Simon Roy and Brandon Graham. So I'll kind of show you those. And this is where his work makes sense in something like this, because I find like Simon Roy has his own style for sure, but I would put kind of Simon Roy's art in that same universe as Brandon Graham. I mean, Jesus, man, like that's a Brandon Graham face if I ever saw one, but it's not. It's this Alchemical guy, right? So it really kind of throws you. It does make more sense here, though. And then here's some Simon Roy. This was a surprisingly good story, even though it feels like it's an adaptation of a longer novel. It's actually not. So it put me in a couple of different mindsets here. When I finished reading this one, I automatically went online to see if I could find the book. that this was, I thought, clearly based on, because I would love to read the book. So it doesn't exist, and finding out that how this is presented was the intent. Here's Brandon Graham now. Was the intent of how this story was supposed to go, this kind of a creation of a new universe, a new sci-fi universe. When did this come out? Doesn't say in there. So these were all kickstarted. They were all Kickstarters because you have your contributors in the back there. And then the kind of collected edition was put out by a company whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, Blue World or something like that, or Blue Planet or something like that, who did the collected edition of it. There was a lot of really good moments in here. I liked how it created the world. The only issue that I had with it was I wish that this one story was kind of like a thicker graphic novel, because I feel like there was so many interesting nooks and crannies in this story that I would love to have read more about, that I think would be in by themselves really interesting sci-fi ideas. It went through them really fast, so it was hard to kind of keep up with everything that was going on, because all these characters are kind of thrown at you. Overall, though, I did enjoy it. And the second one that I found there was the second volume of it. So this is Kayrell's Ring is what it's called. So this one, I think the whole thing is this Alchemical. This one is kind of a few different short stories. And the one that kind of really blew my mind, actually, goddamn, really fucking good. This chapter 3, I thought, was kind of the standout story in this. Ooh. And by this point, because this was the third thing that I read, I was just, in my mind, I was just reading Brandon Graham. So it's a father and a son. They've lost his wife, her mother, and they're going to kind of dig into this new technology to see if they can kind of communicate with her again. And that's all I'll say about it. And it's a really touching story with a pretty kind of fucking dark-ish kind of ending. You know, it's really something. So I mean, I'm impressed overall. I'm kind of impressed. Even though there's clearly criticisms that I have, overall, I kind of like it. And even on the back cover of this one, I mean, tell me that doesn't look like a Mobius panel mixed with Jeff Darrow, right? So it's like there's so much, there's homage and there's paying respect to people, but there's also like, man,
using it.
Gotta try to find your own style at some point, you know? So yeah, overall, good reads though, pretty fun.
Have you managed to do any research about the guy? And maybe he's
just a tiny bit. I just did a little bit last night. So I don't know too much about him, but apparently what I do know is that it was that Island anthology that got him interested in wanting to kind of do some comics. And like I said, it was either the writer or the artist that story was attached to. So,
and then he had like exactly the style of Brand. It's just,
exactly.
But then he has Mobius like influenced Brian Graham. Okay, so
absolutely,
he does. Yeah. Say but then you look kind of like he has his own style of doing that also. But then that almost like you say, it's like uncanny in some ways.
Yeah,
the faces.
And I think that's the biggest difference. You can see the Mobius influence in Brandon Graham, but Brandon Graham has a very unique style. It's more akin to like manga and stuff, especially his faces and his lips on characters. This guy it's like reading Brandon Graham. It's not an influenced and he's kind of gone off on one direction. It's like, no, he's really tried to encompass everything about him in his art style. I suppose there's worse people to kind of mimic, I suppose. But I mean, you would like to see someone develop their own style. So they were cool finds. And again, like the bonus of going through some cheap bins, right? Like, because all this, I think these magazine size ones were like $2 a piece or something like that. So it was a nice find.
So I'm gonna talk about. Did you read the Turtles, or you're done with Turtles?
I did not get the Turtles. I've decided to jump off of it because I didn't like it, and I looked at the new one on the shelf and saw that it wasn't Chris Burnham's art, and then I'm actually not gonna buy it. So
apparently, it's not gonna be anymore. They changed the artist now. The way they advertising is Juan Ferreira is the new artist for the series now.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. They don't explain, of course. But of course, I am as much as I
Yeah.
have the bad feelings. But this is we got and basically this issue 5 gave us an origin story of the bad guy who we're gonna follow. So this mayor, he's completely and utterly been introduced to these kind of plan slash. I'm not sure how the turtles will come into play, but I know sort of in a way what would happen. But it's a hefty amount of story that Jason Random put in the comic book by itself, as we were having so much the lack of for the first 4 issues, because we really didn't understand. This is explains why what he was doing to the turtles. He's well aware of the Hamato clan and all that stuff. He's well aware of everything surrounding him because he's involved with the Foot Clan, because the Foot Clan is using him, this mayor, as a stepping stone for them being in charge of the city in a way. But this guy is kind of like he's like, the way he's introduced is like he basically tells you, this is my story, you don't know who I am, you got maybe try to understand my background, why I became to what I am now, my like showing his childhood experiences, how everybody who was like completely ignoring him because he looked different, blah blah blah, like overweight, blah blah blah, bullying and not that. Bullying wasn't what's the problem for him. It was that people completely naturally ignored him, that he didn't really exist there, that like teachers forgot him while he was in the classes, and that completely like utterly destroyed him. But also his origin became the only parents were his biggest fans. They were really nice to them, and by getting he's basically a well-known, celebrated and astounding lawyer, and that's how he got his name put out there. And then basically Foot Clan decided to use him because of that name and insert him into areas where it comes to the power. He was supposedly being a good guy, dealing with situations where he managed to have people giving him standing ovations by citations, the last like lines of before they decide to basically jail person for how long, or is he guilty or not guilty. So he's well known for his articulations. But then he's basically became a little bit more unsteady in his brain because he's not really there, kind of like, he has his own demons and stuff like that. And this is quite a good shot of Bob, Rocksteady and Bob coming in to basically pick him up to get to the Foot Clan. And Karai, basically, she's the one who's going to be really in charge, and it's not him, but the way they basically attended him to work for him is apparently his parents were killed by a mutant, and his hatred for mutants became to a point where he's kind of obsessed by them. They shouldn't exist. He thinks that the mutant town existence is kind of like a fiction. Not who would be wanting to be like a animal, and animals should be caged because they're not supposed to be mixed in society. And what previous series of turtles were, that they were finally open to them and nobody felt scared by them. But to him, that's not true, and he's going to go after them. And honestly, it's well told. It's a lot of to read. It gave him really good origin story, gave him like basically explain everything almost to a detail for you to kind of come to be and why the turtles were. And Casey Jones appeared because Casey Jones was supposed to be dead. But I don't know how that's going to get explained, or is it going to be explained whatsoever. But Casey Jones there, but what happened to him at the end? He kind of like, not good things happens to him again. So Casey Jones appears here. He kind of confronts him. They're having this major conversations and stuff like that. And he's like, I know who you are. You're not the one who's saying that you're going to save everybody, but you actually have your own details. It also explains how he became mayor, because the another constitution was pushed from the bridge, and that's how he became a mayor of the town. So almost like a kind of like, Hell's Kitchen kind of type of vibe to it, in a lot of ways. But honestly, it's now a bit more clear. I'll see how it goes. I wouldn't say it's my favorite still, But the turtles are coming, and they show them in the back. A couple of panels they show in how White Turtles got involved, because it's all his way of dealing with the. I don't know where the turtles are. I've clearly seen them. Now I can't see any page of turtles. What's going on here? Oh, there. This is the two pages we got about turtles. And basically all the scenes from the first 4 issues you've seen is on purposely done so turtles wouldn't come to New York, back to New York on purpose, because they don't want them there, because they are the ones who basically can change things for the bad guys. But turtles are coming back. So we'll see. So I don't know. So now we have different artists, one intended, and but this continues to going. So as a turtle fan, I'm going to continue with question mark how far how far, because I have, as I say, Night Watcher in my books, and I'm really happy with that one. But I've seen this guy already, so I'm already introduced to the mayor from my Night Watcher series. I know sort of that he's a bad guy for sure, because the way he was represented in Night Watcher series. But in here, it's like complete and utter first introduction to him, like his origin and everything, how he became to what he's gonna be, and what his ideas, how he's gonna have to deal with Mutatown, and apparently destruction or removal kind of thing shouldn't exist.
Well, of course, you got it. He's the bad guy.
Yeah. So everything has to be caged away. So once again, we kind of in a way circling back. I mean, I don't know how else you can talk to mutants. You can't have them always jolly happy. Like in New York City, like walking around happily all the time. So we'll see. But like writing wise, I can understand now. It makes more sense, Jason Aaron, to give you idea what he wants than what the first 4 issues were, because I didn't really. I was cool. I know now. I mean, I thank you for this really intense origin story from the bad guy, because sometimes they don't even do that. They don't give you really much information at the beginning. Kind of they overlapping with some other story going on, and they just disclose some information. But in here, like, this is what we have now. So we have written proper disturbed person in his head, first of all, supposedly good guy, but then now because he's crazed by power, because Karai kind of like gave to him power, but really he's like, no, I'm going to deal with my own situation, because she's not there, kind of thing. She has their own things to deal with, because she has a history of her family she's kind of have, and I know there's some other stories going on in the Turtle realm with her, so I don't really know what she's up to. But yeah, so far we concentrate on this dude who's in charge of New York City and Hell's Kitchen, and they mention Hell's Kitchen like all the time. So it's like awesome. Where am I?
That's awesome.
Universe? But it's cool. I mean, so I like that. I think crisscrossing the universes like that is great, to be honest.
Well, and that's what influenced them to begin with, right? Like
exactly,
those Daredevil books and stuff were big influences. So
no
that's pretty awesome.
Were in the city of New York, in the sewage area.
Yeah,
exactly.
So speaking of Turtles, 204 Comics, they bought a collection, and a few weeks ago I was in there. He's got a press, and he was pressing like first printings of the early issues and stuff.
Oh, shoot.
It was super cool to see them. Most of the stuff had sold. He had a sale as well. The one thing that didn't sell though was a first printing of issue number 6. So I ended up getting that. Yeah.
How much
so
did you drop?
It was on sale. I think I got it for $25 cheaper than it was marked as, right? No, $15 cheaper. So it was kind of a really nice deal. And I've read these ones because I've got this in the collection, obviously, in those collected editions. But it's still so cool to have like an actual first printing of the OG Turtle stuff. Yeah, my computer is really struggling today. Is it still smooth on your side?
No, it's still juggly a little bit, but
that's weird. I wonder what's going on. So it's cool to have this. It was a gap that I had, right? So because I've got the early stuff, but it's much later printings. Like I've got issue number 1, but it's like I don't even know what printing, 12th printing or something insane. It's nowhere close to the first printing, basically. So it's cool to have you know, as my kind of continuing digging into the Turtles universe.
Yeah.
So your thing of an origin story, speaking of origin stories,
Okay.
are you getting this? I can't remember.
No, because the issue 2 I wasn't able to get hold of it, and then they had this gap, and I was like thinking, okay, so then there's some you know, things in the air, and I was like, okay, and then now I looked it up again online to see if I can get hold of it, and no, sorry,
Yeah.
it's just out
So
of
good luck
price
on.
tag.
I would suggest if you do want
Yeah.
to, I would suggest trying to get this one as quickly as possible.
Oh no.
Speaking of introducing new characters, holy fuck! So this has a couple of issues with it. This has got a couple of problems with it. The first
Okay.
problem being there's been too much of a delay between issue 2 and
Yes.
3. I'm completely lost as to where we were. And honestly, after reading this issue, I'm
Yeah.
kind of confused as to what it was that I liked about this book. This
Art.
comic throws the art, this comic throws so many new characters at the wall. It seems like I'm actually really disappointed. It's like, okay,
Oh
well,
boy.
this is the usual DC shit. It's the usual mainstream fucking comics horse shit. Let's just create a bunch of new fucking characters, have this be their origin story, and you know, rise this book into the stratosphere, and it's just to see what's gonna stick. Like they have a kid Joker, for fuck's sake. So again, it's not like I didn't see that coming, because this cover, I've known about this cover for a while.
Yes.
It's been in CLZ for a while, so it's not a total surprise. I think what I was more surprised in, though, was the amount of kind of new characters that they added into this one. It felt like this was a showcase issue for the next year of DC Comics. It goes through his origin story again, and honestly, like, I really need to reread the first 2 issues, because when I say I forgot, I forgot what happened in the first 2 issues. Like, I really don't remember anything. I know that there was parts that I was digging about it, and I still absolutely adore the art. His artwork is gorgeous. I'm just so disappointed that this, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I was looking through my book of stuff that exactly, it's Batman, exactly right. I was looking through my book of things like when I've dipped my toes back into mainstream comics, it's always a bit of a disappointment. So I'm not totally surprised. I'm a little disappointed, because I thought with Rafael Grampa there would be something a little more unique to it, as opposed to it then just being like another product. Because again, you're right, it is a Batman story, it is DC, it is Black Label. I should know better, but it was still disappointing to kind of read this issue. I mean, I think that there's only one more issue, and I mean, I'm going to stick it out now to the end. It would be silly to drop it now, but yeah, so there you go. There's your little Joker there, you know, which is, so I don't know, man, kind of a bummer. But Rafael Grampa is a fantastic artist. There's no doubt about that. I like that they're doing it this kind of like, you know, square bound-ish deluxe format, or whatever the fuck they call it.
Prestige.
Yeah, prestige, exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, and his art is really just stunning. Like, some of the line work and things is really incredible. Where's that shot? Like, even stuff like this, just the line work on his cape, that's a very Rafael Grampa panel. First of all, the character design, I don't know, he really has his own style when it comes to his art and his character designs and things. It's super cool. Yeah, and there's his Batman there, so and his almost a crack in the background there. So yeah, it's great artist. Such a bummer of a story. But I'll dip back in. So I'm saying, like, it feels like this is going to be one that, if it's not already sold out, that'll probably sell out pretty quick. So if you were even toying with the idea of maybe trying to pick up the last 2 issues, I would suggest trying to get issue 3 now, if it's still even available. It feels like it's one of those kind of things.
No, it is available, but it's like what, £9?
Oh yeah.
So it's quite a lot. I thought maybe
that is a lot. Yeah,
but it's still a lot. I mean, it's not. How much is that in dollars? It's like what, $6.99, I think, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Let's see what it says on the back here. Yeah, $6.99 US. Yeah, correct.
So they are upping in the price even like a couple of more like basically dollars up for me if I want to buy it, which I'm not free honestly, because of the, I don't know why there was delay. First of all, I heard something happened to him, I presume, but I'm not sure if it was though, but I don't know. But that doesn't help the story like that, especially if you're on the prestige format. You have to keep the attention going for the people, but then you have like there was like 4 months delay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it was a long time.
Which is a long time
enough to be off my radar to some degree.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But Happy New Year, Jackie, by the way.
Hello, sorry, Jackie. Happy New Year. Nice to see you.
So yeah, I mean, as I say, I saw the second issue now. Like for example, while you were talking, I was looking to see second. There is available, but as I say, the price tag is just like, it's not something I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah,
and especially it's like, it's fine. I love the art. Don't get me wrong, and I probably would like to have it all and kind of make my own opinion about it. But you know, if there's delays, I don't know if the next issue is going to be like, I don't really like. There's no urgency on it, to be honest. If there is, if you think that book, because of the Baby Joker's first appearance, maybe it'll go skyrocket, and then I'll say
I think it's gonna. It reads to me like one of those books that's just gonna skyrocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also hope that they do a collection of it, because that would probably be the way better way to read it. Just get it all at once, so you don't have to deal with hunting.
And they do beautiful collections usually by those kind of preprints.
Well, and the hope also is that if he's involved in it, I don't know how much on the DC side. I guess it depends on the person. It depends on the name. I wonder if he's of that kind of upper echelon where he would have some say in how it's presented. I mean, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he stands a chance or if it's a really good chance. I'm not sure about those kind of things, but he would be good to, I feel like he would be good to design a book, you know? So he would potentially put something really nice together.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's a pity though. You were happy with it. I remember.
Oh, I was excited about it. Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite artists, and those first 2 issues were great.
As far as you remember.
As far as I remember. That's the thing. I feel like it's lost the thread, and I don't know if that's purely me or if that's the story as well. Like if it just took some kind of turn. So I'm gonna dig up those first 2 issues and maybe give them a reread and read all 3 together. Yeah. Hey, look at this guy. Nate, how are you, man? Happy New Year. Thanks very much for checking in. Nice to see you. Yeah, so there you go. That's Batman.
You read it?
I sure as hell did. Where is it? Right here.
So are we now one issue done, guy? One issue another guy? Is this the artist wise I'm talking about?
I guess maybe, you know what? Honestly, I didn't notice. I had no idea. But yes, maybe they are. Maybe they're switching.
Because the first issue was the same part, no light showing. Yes, no light beyond. Parts 2 of 4, and the first one was with Max Furama, but now it's Arojo doing.
Yes,
which is look. I'm already used to it, but I was surprised because I don't know if they were mentioning. Nor do I. It's really, honestly, I'm enjoying it more now, and I really like the way he draws Pigeon. By the way, to be honest.
Yeah.
You like this panel here, fantastic. The pigeon looking dude, and he doesn't like being called Pigeon, which is hilarious.
So is this, I think the one thing, because it's been a few weeks since I've read this one of the things that's coming back to me was, is this in the future? Have we jumped into the future with him? Because he seems to be.
No, I don't think it is. No, I think
it's just the powers that he's gotten have changed him to this degree.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the powers he gained, and he's basically going through them. And this is the guy who he killed the wife who was sleeping with the guy in the water. I forgot the name. Sorry, I'm just now talking this randomly. But this is the guy who's going after him also because he killed his wife. The pigeon killed his wife. In that, that the water completely surrounding that city and completely destroyed them. So it was on the cover. This guy was. Where are you? This guy?
Yeah, this clockwork kind of guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the mask on the cover. So this is basically. But what I was surprised by how we got basically just a bit of Pigeon's the whole idea of what he wants to do. He's kind of completely possessed by him, by driven like anger also. He is going to kill every single god because they weren't given a choice to be sacrificed. Yeah, because they
Mhm.
are so minute. They're just a cog in the biggest scheme of things, and you just should
Mhm.
accept it because the cog which actually turns the whole world around them, and you are necessary in order to turn at least what this god who is going after him, keep on forgetting the name, telling him to do. They having this conversation, and like almost like these old people working for him. It's like almost like obsessed by what they are doing and why they're doing what they need to do in order,
Uh-huh.
as I say, continuously the ticking clock kind of situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And pigeons basically confronting each other, and they basically bashing each other, and one saying, pigeon saying, I'm gonna go after them no matter what you're gonna say, and he's saying, what, do you think you are better than us just because
Yeah.
we're killing and destroying every single child and wife and everything makes you look better in people's eyes? And the pigeon's like, I don't really give a rat's ass because this is my thing. In a way, it feels like it, but
And
also
then what does he say on the next page there?
and then the next page
Meet
you
the
say
proletariat.
and then he says, well, why don't we just give our powers away to the people and make them to make
Yeah.
decisions, kind of thing. And then he's like, and suddenly this guy, because he kind of freaked out the way his people are reacting to these messages they going for each other. Do you see the face? Let me show the panel. That this is the face of the god saying, reacting to the actual people he's in charge of, reacting to
Yeah.
what the pigeon is talking to him about. And they like conversating, oh wait, we don't have a choice, we're not, we're not making any difference, are we just like a little scheme of, or crumb of a scheme, whatever it's making us all tick together and everything that. So it's kind of interesting how this went on in the conversation.
Mhm.
And they end up basically saying, okay, do you think ever gods will listen to us? And now they are together, which kind
Yeah.
of, I don't know if it's so quick you can
Well,
make
are
decision
they
of
though?
it.
That's the thing, right? Like it's
Yes.
sort of left a little bit open, but yes, it feels like you're right though. Yeah.
But then you also understand that this Rick Remender, he may be just
Yeah.
fleeing us off, because at the end
Well,
of the
and
day,
I kind of hope it is something,
yes,
because
I
this
hope
issue
so.
was a little too on the nose for me. It's
Yes,
always my issue
exactly.
with the comics where it's like, yes, all of these things he's talking about in this
Yeah.
have been underlying themes for sure. That idea
Yeah.
of power, who has power, who doesn't, all those.
Yeah.
It's always a little disappointing when a writer kind of goes to like, this is very much like, I'm going to tell you exactly what this book is about now, where it's
Yeah.
like so on the nose. I don't know. Again, I'm not a writer. I can't write worth shit. So who the hell am I to criticize? But as a reader, it's always a little disappointing when it kind of gets to a part of the story where the writer feels that they have to spell it out for you, where I was fine with everything. I still like the issue. I'm still sticking with it. But I just found that I liked the way it was progressing. This is a good issue. It's not maybe the strongest one.
No.
I am super curious where he's going to take it, because the other thing, like you said, is Remender has this ability to kind of lead you down a path and then go, nope, not at all. We're going to go this way now. It's going to come around the corner. You know what I mean? So there is that possibility for sure. Still a overly strong book overall, though.
Yes. And as I say, it's very, I was surprised how much on the nose it was.
Yeah.
Because like, can you really convince somebody like that magnitude to tell them like, okay, let's just give them the powers to people and we're going to do everything. No, let them make decisions. But it never works. Like they always say to you, like wherever you've been schooled and educated in this any way possible, if you get power, it doesn't work. You need that one figure above everybody else to basically make the work, at least to some point. And you know what I mean? The clashing things. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that he got the whole, like, I think even the like, I don't know if Pigeon was as surprised as I was when he was like, yeah, go on, let's do this kind of thing, because it's honestly like, hey. Because like, because in the first place, when he was saying, when he was writing these stories, he's saying that he's gonna be like letting you make the path of the story kind of go, and you make, and I don't want to spell it out for you, but then like you say, why would he spelling out for you? And then the question mark, is he doing that on purpose to make you wait for another issue and then get more excited. Maybe, I hope so. At least that's how clever Rick Mendes' writing is. Or you just want to keep the attention, because he keeps on saying repeatedly, no matter which interviews I've watched, he kept saying that it's very difficult to sell some of the things he's writing to continue being comfortable, like what he's trying, make money and be kind of like having that stuff ticking for you towards. But
right.
Let's hope he surprises us.
I feel like he's such a name, he could sell no matter what. And then he could put these ideas in. And again, like one of the things that I go back to when we head down a road like this, I was reading Scumbag, and then I dropped Scumbag because it didn't turn out to be what I thought it was going to be, which was a satire mocking everybody, like Monty Python level satire, where nobody is safe. I'm going to mock everybody. And then he sort of went down a political path that is just boring to me to read about, like it started feeling very one-sided and this rebellious kind of character. Now, I never finished the series, so I don't know how it ended, but it got to that point, more issue after issue, that it lost my interest, that I hope it's not this kind of thing here as well, too, where it's just this one political idea he's trying to infuse in a fantasy story, which he was doing really well up to this point. I hope he doesn't give up on that level of storytelling where you can still have these subversive ideas within kind of a fairy tale realm and it still be incredibly rewarding. I think that the issue is that when readers get it hit over the head with the ideas, they get bored of it, because who wants to, listen to a treatise from somebody about, their political beliefs to some degree in a comic form or any sort of artistic form. The fun is kind of having that as the background and you kind of digging at these nuggets, right? So we'll see what he does.
I'm picking up new book, which he advertises, him writing a new book, The Seasons, by recommended Paul Azteca, and Matthias Lopez coloring. So in January, so I'm gonna interesting to read. And then he's advertising this Giant Generator Gateway Drug Volume 1, 7 issues for 10, and they're probably gonna have all first issues of each this Deadly Class, Sacrifices, Black Science, Low, Seven to Eternity, Death or Glory, and Scumbag in one volume. So I guess his way to do what? Anthology type of introduction to the...
I guess, that's not a horrible idea, honestly.
Yeah, so that because
he has his own thing
his name is Giant Generator, basically he is in charge of that part of the Image comic books. I don't know how that works, to be honest.
That's his own production company or whatever. Yeah. Happy New Year, Ramos Comics. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in there.
Happy New Year. So let's hope Rick Remender has some surprises, but I'm excited to see the new one, because from that list of that compilation of that volume, Death or Glory never clicked with me, and Low didn't click for me, and then Scumbag didn't click for me, and Low still to this point, I looked it up, it sells like
it's top seller, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like continuously being on top of it, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And next one's
you got one more issue of Gromit's coming as well too, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that wraps up.
Cool. You read this?
Yeah. I sure did. This one again, it's been a couple of weeks since I've read it, so I have to flip through it.
This is I got a bit confused.
Oh yes, I do remember this one. Yes, I really liked this issue. I remember it now as soon as I see the cover.
Okay, I was, because I know
I really dug this one.
We went to that city of Ghost City, whatever it's called. That's the path they were gonna choose to go, and then it started going like whack, like proper. This is like threw me off straight from the get go. It's like, are we now in like, what is going on here? Is it true, real? Is it imaginary, or is this just what's going to happen? Why the destruction of the world was, and then we have our group of who's running, and the best part of it for me, even though I was like all these things going on, and then he explains to her, because she's saying what's going on here, I don't understand what's going on in the city, and he just tells you it's this like a city of what he says, what is ghost at war, child. This is what he explains. And then of course you have all those robots going after Jin once again, the most important part. But to my love, of what Kaya is all about is these pages. I
Yeah.
absolutely love. I was like, what is
Yeah,
going
me
on
as well.
here?
Yeah.
And then afterwards he goes to us and then like puts the bloody words backwards. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
man. You're making me work. And I was reading, by the way. I didn't use mirror, no
No,
anything.
me neither. I read it as well too. Yeah, I struggled.
And then you see this page and like,
How
yes.
good of a page is that, dude?
Yeah, the favorite of the favorite. Why we're reading this book? Basically, we want to follow Kaya and
Yeah, absolutely.
Wes Craig is keep on giving us gin for no reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
no reasons. But anyway, so it was fun. So this is really cool. I mean, he's seeding something into the story where you always want him to do a bit more of it, but he doesn't. Like regularly. So when he does this kind of stuff and he gives you that little information of her being already aged to a lady, not a girl, almost towering her like 3 times. Anyway, so it's really cool. I love his
super
work.
cool.
I like his artwork, and he's so good. And he's
I love his coloring in this issue too. The coloring in this issue is a standout.
Yeah. So, and this like absolute trip the
Beautiful.
hell.
I love that shit.
Yeah, so he is basically a stunning artist in generally. His storytelling is getting better, but it's clunky sometimes in single format. I don't know how it will be reading in like single, and then this comes out like baby Kaya. So anyway, I don't know. Jin basically got captured once again.
Yeah,
we know that for sure. The crybaby of the family.
Just leave him. Just leave him. Let's go. Let's carry on. One thing I wanted to point out earlier on too is like, I love that he can still throw in these very cartoony things like that pose for running is so cartoony. It's so great. He's managed to mix things really, really well here. With like it's just a really engaging little story. This is a great chapter, but he still has this kind of really cartoony kind of style to him.
Thankfully, the paper has improved it slightly in this issue.
Yeah,
I don't know
what's going on. It's really thin issue though, doesn't it? Like they feel really thin.
Yes, very like almost like the minute you like pulled in the wrong way, feels like it's gonna tear apart because it's just like paper. Like no wonder there's a saying paper thin. This is like oof. It's a almost napkin thin, like napkins. You know, like you can tear them apart. And the last,
it's issue 23. He's made it 23 issues. Can you believe it's been that long already? Like, it's impressive, man, because I don't know if I expected it to last this long. I think early on we were talking about wondering how long it was going to go, but the fact he's 23 issues in and it feels like there's still a lot of story to tell is a positive thing. Like, he's given it. Yeah,
he kind of like now, I think he's really good. I mean, artistically, I don't have no doubts whatsoever. He can do whatever he wants. The writing part of it is still, as I say, he has really good notes of writing, and those Kaya stuff, he's like, he actually has it in his head already done, but somehow this Jin, like the fly which buzzing around you, and you keep on swatting him away. From existence, but you can't get rid of him. So kind of thing. So it's interesting how he goes about. But I saw finally somebody actually talking of a YouTuber talking about this book, and he was saying the same things. It's absolutely loves it. He loves the art completely, but the storyline is like he kind of like excited about the storyline, but sometimes it's not always fully kind of thing for him. You know, like he's kind of losing excitement, but he comes back again with a lot of it. So it's kind of interesting to see that kind of almost the same feeling what we have about the book. So it's good to hear other people talking about it, basically.
Totally.
Buy it. So I really like it still, even though always kind of like doubt it in some ways to see how far.
Well, it did hit a slump there for sure. Like there's no doubt about it. There was quite a few issues there that really were like a slump, but I mean this issue is fantastic. These last couple of issues have been really great, honestly. It feels like it's on the rise again, because I think he's back focusing on what he should be. This, you know, I don't know, and it's interesting that idea of like Jin being this pest or whatever. It really puts us in the seat with Kaya of like, I have to do this because apparently this is what the mission is, and so you're kind of there with her in her frustration, and because I get the sense that sometimes she would just leave his dumbass as well, like forget this kid, like let's get out of here. But
in the ways she thinks that because there's so many consequences, like even that scene with her seeing herself in that couple of pages we got, and she was like saying that I have consequences by all the accents I'm getting, like that rib breaking in the scene in this she's like, I'm still feeling it when he's like, she's talking all grown up, and she's like, there's consequences to all of my actions I'm trying to do here, and I'm paying for them in the future, apparently. So not as invincible and as strong as it was.
Yeah, totally.
I have one more book to talk about. Sure. Do you this one you read? Did you read?
No, I didn't get it.
The second issue of White Star Rising?
Oh, fuck, no, I haven't. I didn't get it. No, they didn't have it in my pull box. Shitty.
Oh, so this was a lot of, like a big issue. I mean, there's so many pages. I was like, oh, wow, that's like a lot of story. I'm not gonna, it's great. I mean, I don't know. I just like Usagi Yojimbo, and this space stuff is as entertaining as everything. So they're continuously getting like this girl's mother who died because of, the crash of the spaceship while she was, like trying to get hold of information, and her basically daughter is having the same abilities of the, reading the brains of people, and she's keeping dreaming the same dream about, like, is she gonna give me the code? Am I gonna do it for sure? And whoever is in charge keeps like having this, you only be used because we need only one thing from you, and the kind of thing. So it's like, it's all the storytelling what Usagi Yojimbo does, and then of course you have a crew of guys going for finding the ship to get to the destinations we're all going through. I absolutely love this panel. I'm not sure how good it is for stylistic, but I really like the way it's drawn. It looks very serious, and the camera angle is picked quite fantastically. But yeah, so we're going forward. It's this dude who has the ship. They will need to, as I say, get to the destination, and it's kind of like, as I say, all entertaining as always. And there's lots of reading and lots of information. And Usagi gets to the point. To the destination. They find kind of like this character, Spot. Is it Spot now? That like a dinosaurish kind of thing, which always.
Oh yeah.
But this is actually like a robot.
Yeah.
This guy. Oh, where is it? Hey, I've seen him somewhere. There, this one. Spot. So he is actually a robot created by a professor. This guy. So he's the one who's helping them also to basically do all the adventures in space. And of course you get your bad guys who's going after the wolf, because they want to be in power.
Spot is playing a big part in the story that me and Lillian are currently reading, the Usagi stuff we're reading right now. Oh, why is my computer gonna shut down? What's going on? Sorry, it's them back down there.
Yeah, and then they go. It's like amazing. It's like going through space. They have space. Your computer is really going for it.
I don't know what the hell is going on with my computer today.
Yeah, and then so they're going through space. It's just as adventurous as the first issue, just with more information. Like they're really doing it great. They're going through sewages of the spaceship. The parent spaceship needs sewages system, and they're going through that. And there's these creatures lurking inside of them. It's just very much like we say Star Warsy with that. Yeah. And now you get that extra story which I wasn't aware of. Like I said, why he's doing this, but this is Usagi Yojimbo's daughter. Akemi. Now she says that, and I was like, I didn't know Usagi Yojimbo has a daughter. But then she goes into like, look, come on, little friend, we need to go get to this, and it's calling General Usagi. This is Akemi calling. Come on, Dad. So she's basically, maybe he's doing some sort of like a new character, like Usagi Yojimbo's daughter.
Yeah, for the space side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, space side of it. Like he's got
the son in the other one.
Yeah, does he? No, he doesn't.
He does. He has at least in the reading that I'm doing, that he's got a son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, then I don't
I
know
don't know what they
anything.
did with it because obviously I'm like I'm a good 10, 15 years behind what's going on. So
Yes.
anything could have happened in that time. But in the
Yeah.
in the fan graphic stuff, there's reference to a son.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is very easy to read. She's the aliens ship. She's also entering into after her, and then she's in the pickle to a point where probably like they all gonna kill her or she's gonna survive. And like he says, the next issue will be a culmination of this whole basically 2-story things, and it's really hefty for the price tag. Now I realize because he does number the pages, which is absolutely fantastic. So you get 16 pages of extra story. Yeah, am I correct? Or is he? No, it says from 9. Okay, so no, but it numbers. So 27, 28 pages of the main story you get, and then you get extra 5, 6 pages of the extra. So it's, for the price tag, is definitely a chunky thing to get.
Yeah.
And I was always thinking maybe he's overpricing stuff like in Dark Horse, but we're getting quite a lot of it out of it, and I'm really loving it. I mean, the story just flows, and it's good for me. I like the ship stuff. Like it's very, as I say, a bit Star Warsy maybe to a point. But just like his imagination of like how he's creating the ships, they're gonna fly into this like scrap of basically nothingness, and in order they created the space just for freedom to get into, and of course Spot gets in there as well, so he takes too much space out of all of it. It's just, and then this Rhino character gets actually a nose, and nose has a purpose. He's very surprised by it, so it's really good. It's just like the way.
Cool.
So get hold of it, and then.
Yeah, I will for sure. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't make it to my pull list.
And did you get the sickness?
No, that wasn't in. So we had a delay. Like often happens, we get a delay up here, and then especially with the mail stuff that was going on, it caused like the mail stuff is over now. We've had mail coming for a good week at this point. So I'm just waiting for stuff to show up now.
Yeah.
But there's delays so much with like Diamond and all these kind of things, and especially with the sickness because it's that. Unearthed or whatever that company is, they've even had a delay, and because I ordered the trade paperback of the first, so that's been delayed by months. So again, it's one of those things. Like I get it that there's struggles for independent companies. I totally understand it. I wish that there was a better way to sort through some of those issues. I don't know what the answer is to create more stuff so you have more to kind of publish, I guess. But I think there's always unforeseen issues that pop up, right? So it does make it a challenge to keep up with some of those stories, though.
I remember those days when we all complained because we have only one publisher, the distributor, who is Diamond. And people complaining how awful it is, but now it seems to be this even more. Now because we don't have one entity, there's many of them. It's too many of them now. Nobody knows what's happening around. Like my comic book, I don't know. He always says that always have problems with my shipments. There's something or damaged or not what I wanted or if it's some other people's comics they ordered. So it's like kind of frustrating. It's
really frustrating.
It's kind of lucky to me, to be honest. Sometimes I had this gap between not receiving the books for a couple of weeks, and every single book I read because of the gap I did is I loved reading my singles. I was like, this is actually a very good story. I was waiting until to be disappointed, but I wasn't actually. I was finally enjoying this stack of books. I finally got hold of it. But I'm surprised because I was thinking I have quite little, but honestly, that's enough for me, to be honest. I mean, if I'm going to add another book now to the pull with recommenders, and of course, I'm keep on the lookout now for other books. I don't know how about you, but kind of wonder. But
I always look on the shelf. I always do a little dig.
Well, you're lucky you. I have to look online and somehow rambling, like looking to see what there is. And of course, it helps to see other people's pull lists to make me interested in those books. But sometimes I can be delayed by it because sometimes you can't get hold of issue number 1. These days they go like out of print so quickly. Because if it becomes something quite popular, another thing I was surprised by, IDW got hold of, I don't know if it's surprised by, but they're saying that they're gonna do now the IDW Dark. They're gonna do the Twilight Zone comic. Apparently, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees Right for Spring is coming out, which I'm interested in.
Mhm.
This is because I read the first one and I absolutely loved it. The Quiet Place, The 30 Days of Night, Falling Sun, Sleepy
Oh
Hollow,
wow.
Event Horizon, and Smile.
Ooh,
And this
Event
is
Horizon. Jesus.
yeah. So all of these books are gonna apparently in the production in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have like, so they're doing that in this year apparently. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I mean, they
That's
always
cool.
were known for those kind of like franchises. Get hold of those franchises and start. The Twilight Zone. I'm not sure. I really like the TV show. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
love it. I'm not sure if I want to see that in a comic format. I don't know if
Well, it
they
depends. Yeah, it'll depend on who's writing and
yeah,
artist, and
exactly. And then Sleepy Hollow is always kind of a. I watch TV show,
Mhm.
but not. I mean, I watched the movie, of course. I know the movie, all that stuff. But there was a TV show based on that kind of storytelling as well. But I'm not sure if I wanted anything interested in the comic book format in that sense. So I
Mhm.
will be probably looking to see what other people say, and they
Yeah.
list if it's interesting. But that Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, really
Yeah.
cool. One of the
Yeah.
best
Sweet.
probably reads of 2024.
Mm.
Surprising.
Yeah,
Oh, is
that's what I was
it?
thinking, Gore. Like maybe,
Ah.
like there's potential with an anthology. I mean, whatever it isn't going to be Vacuum Decay. That's the best horror anthology, but there is hope. Like there is hope that there could be something interesting that happens. Like if they kind of rotate artists and writers, I think that would be great. We'll see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah. So we will see how that goes.
Yeah.
Go on. You
So
have
only
something.
a couple of things to talk about.
Go.
This one, nothing very much to say other than welcome back to Sanctuary. So I found part 2, number 1 in this sale that was happening.
Cool.
It was the one I was missing because I have the rest of part 2. I think it's a 9-issue chunk. So I've now read the first 6 issues of this part 2. And man, it's really good to be back in with this story. This is the story where it's these two guys who are kind of looking to gain control in different aspects of Japan. One has gone into politics and one has gone into the Yakuza, and they're working kind of hand in hand. It's such a good book. The guy at the comic shop was saying this is one that he wishes that they would reprint in a collected edition. And what he told me was apparently there was a movie as well, and he thinks that it was also called Sanctuary. So I'm going to be looking for that online because I love this series. The art is gorgeous. The story is really great as well. Really, really fun. And then the last one that I found in the bin, I didn't know, but it's a Winnipeg comic apparently. So it's called Zombie Planet number 1. It's a thin affair. It's from a guy named Lucas Fair from 2017. And it's an interesting little book. It's more like a big fight scene, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. There's moments in the art that I really, really dig. And then there's moments that not so much. Like that main character here looks very kind of digital. Doesn't look all that great. But then when we get into kind of the action scenes here, it starts to pick up. It has moments like this. Like I feel that's a pretty cool little panel, like style wise. And then we really get into kind of like he's sort of the storyteller, the crypt keeper of sorts of this kind of sci-fi story here, and the rest is just this fight that's actually pretty fucking cool. I haven't looked up Lucas online yet to see. I think I found an Instagram account, but that's all that I've looked into so far. So I don't know how much art he has out there, if he's done more comics than this. But this was a pretty cool little find in the bins. Yeah. So it's nice to find some local cartoonists. So yeah, very satisfactory little read. I think this cost me like $1 or $2 as well too. So
always helps.
pretty that helps for sure. But I would have bought it no matter what because it looked interesting enough. It caught my attention just by the cover alone.
That's it?
That's pretty much all that I read except for that Blom, but honestly I don't have much to say about it.
Are you still interested?
I still got 2 more volumes I think that I need to find. It's still really, really good. There's a lot of things that happen in this one, but I don't have anything different really to say than I did about the first two. This is an awesome series, man. I'm really digging it so far. It's one to keep your eyes out for at your library, to give a shot to. It's a very unique world, that I like. Especially after volume 3, I'm more comfortable with the mystery of it, because we're starting to get some answers on certain things, and we're starting to get our bearings a little more. It's cool, and it just reads. Pardon me, it reads so smoothly. The only other thing that I'm reading, I got a couple of other things from the sale as well too, because he had a 60% off shelf as well, and that's where I got this one here, and I've started reading it. It's not blowing my mind. So he had a 60% off of the US cover price. So this ended up costing me like, I don't know, $5 or $10 or something. And this is from Drawn and Quarterly. And it looks pretty great. It's sort of in that sort of Chester Brown, Louis Riel kind of world, I would say, because this is historical stuff about the Klondike. So it has actual people from history and kind of short stories. They all sort of tie together because there's a lot of the same characters through the short stories. It hasn't kind of caught me in a big way. I don't know. I'm probably, it looks like I'm about 75 pages into it. It hasn't really kind of dragged me in as much as I thought it might yet. So it's a bit of a slow read, but I will kind of keep up with it because I am curious about it. And then I also found this one. This one was not on sale, but I got it anyway. This is Jodorowsky and Mobius, Mad Woman of the Sacred Heart. So it's a humanoids book.
Yes.
And it's kind of, the main character is sort of Jodorowsky himself. I started reading this one as well too. I'm about, 45 pages into it. It's pretty good so far. He's this aged professor whose kind of life is not quite falling apart necessarily, but it is changing in a very dramatic way. He's this philosophy professor. I'm digging it so far. It's nice to see the Mobius art at this big size, because this is a pretty substantial, a large book. So that was a nice score as well.
Cool.
And a couple of other things, but nothing super noteworthy. I found a copy of Headlopper. You and I had talked about this in the past. This was like $1, so I gave it. Even though it's just one random issue from like a big series, I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. Started flipping through it. It's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Adventure Time. And then a manga that he had on the discount shelf as well too. And it's not doing much for me. I've read the first 3 stories, and it's really not catching my attention. It's these kind of short horror stories from Japan's queen of horror manga. Her name is Kanako Inuki is her name. The style of the art is pretty good, but the stories aren't really blowing me away so far. I'm going to I'll finish it off and stuff, but it hasn't really, I don't know, it hasn't jumped out at me very much, to be honest. So kind of all that I got there pretty much.
Cool. Well, that's quite a lot though.
I mean, it was a good sale. It's when you can have, it's hard to say no to trades when they're that cheap, like especially that 60% off shelf. There was a couple of things, but there was some stuff on there that was pretty damaged as well, which is why it was so discounted. So I looked at a couple of things and ended up putting them back because there was just too much. One looked like it had some water damage that had dried out and it looked fine, but I don't want to fuck with any books that have water damage. That's mold and all sorts of issues that I don't really want to deal with, even at that much of a discount.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
Thankfully, I don't have. Sometimes I'm actually happy not having so many shops around me, because I just like, honestly, that would be so much temptations all the time, because I do enjoy it. A lot of stuff like that, and but I'm okay with whatever I have now. It's like there's plenty of more reading to do everywhere where I'm looking now. Like this Lobster Johnson omnibus will be an entertaining. Finally to read.
Sure will.
But like you were talking about the BPRD, and was like, damn, I wish we like had ongoing of that. I would love having that as ongoing, because it's just like reads really well, and it's just those stories is like the world maybe building is great, and I kind of miss that kind of like
It's cool.
overlapping things happening. So
I was hoping to find, that's kind of one of the things I was looking for when I was there. I was
yeah,
looking for volume 4 of it, but unfortunately he had other kind of Magnola-verse stuff,
yeah,
but nothing that I wanted to dip into yet. But I
yeah.
was really hoping to find a discounted next volume of that. But
Mm.
he had actually the Rachel Rising omnibus, the entire thing. And
Oh
I kind of
wow.
kicked myself that I didn't get it, but I already had a good stack of books at that time. I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to throw something else on it, but I'm kind of kicking myself that I should probably get that instead of going for the small trades, because I'm having
Yes.
problems finding the trades that I need next.
Yes.
I'm not seeing them out there
Because they
anywhere.
don't,
So,
I don't think he prints them that much anymore because of its,
mm-hmm,
I think he does those like omnibus now, and it's actually really sells out well for him, as far as
mm-hmm.
I know. And
Yeah,
it's a green hardback
yeah, that's
omnibus.
the one. It's a
That's
soft cover, soft cover.
our soft cover, is it?
Yeah,
Because I have the
I'm
hardcover
pretty
one,
sure it
and
was green. I think it was green. I don't remember, but yeah.
because what I'm saying, if it's a black one, it's like limited edition one. If you ever find,
Oh, I see. Okay.
so that's like you only were like getting it from him directly. So that would
Ah,
be, so that would have been because he did a special kind of edition print on the Rachel Rising.
mm,
But I don't
well,
know,
shit.
whatever way you can decide. But it's just it's actually quite handy to have it all in one. But
Yeah.
that's the problem with the way the format you pick, and if it's gonna get you to the end, because basically what draws you out of the storyline, because you can't really read it all, which is kind
Mm-hmm.
of sucks sometimes. But Rachel Rising
And I
is really
really
good.
was liking those a lot. It may be the thing. I've got some stuff up on Marketplace right now for sale. I've got a couple of people interested in buying a couple of things. So maybe with some of that money, I'll just end up going back to his shop and just buying it, even if it's at regular price, because
Yeah.
I was really liking that story a lot.
Uh,
It really was working for me.
yeah. I could go reread it again, to be honest. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
thinking of it. I actually really like it. I haven't seen anything new of him because I kind of
Hmm.
lost, because since I stopped reading some of the stuff in single format, I don't know what happened. It's like I'm kind of like out of that his world somehow. Like the minute you stopped, because the way, as I kept saying, my information doesn't come as often, like the way I want it,
Yeah.
like what other people, yes, like from comic book, you go in there, you always see it, so get reminded of whatever you've been doing, like his stuff. But I don't get. I go to the comic book shop. Oh, there you
Hmm.
go. Well, it's really
25
good.
bucks, Stranger in Paradise 1 to 3 reprints. Oh yeah. Dark
That was
Horse, Conan by Kurt
Conan.
Busiek
Whew.
and Tim Truman. Oh, cool. That's cool.
Full cover.
And 4 cover buys, including one of Supergirl and Power Girl. Over 60 comics
Shit.
for 20. That was 60 comics for 25 bucks. Gore, holy smokes! That's a hell of a sale.
Well, Strange in Paradise is still. I really like that story.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure. I don't know. You definitely can't compare them to the.
yeah.
Even though it's the same person who's done it, but I think Rachel Rising is just something to it as well. Like
I mean, I
even though
know
I
that I'll get into Strangers in Paradise. I read some of the single issues when
shit.
they kind of came through as part of that collection I was helping to sell. I read
Mhm.
some of the first issues, and I really dug that as well too. So he's just it's one of those things of like, I'm going to get these books and where the hell am I going to put them? But I do want to read them. So again, that might be library stuff. I might go back to
Yes.
in the new year. Now that it's 2025, let's maybe renew going back to the library to try out some books.
Yeah, I agree with Gore about Moore's writing. Yeah, dialogue
Yeah.
driven it's intriguing. It's a good conversation to be part of when you read his, like, Strange in Paradise. You basically like a friend there looking
Hmm.
around and see what they up to, and you're basically part of the storyline, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why. And Rachel Rising was really good due to how the mystery unfolded, and that
Hmm.
the mark she had on her
It's
thing.
super interesting. It's such an interesting idea,
And
and
then
yeah,
you
I
have,
mean, yeah, it's she really great.
and then she had that gentle giant guy who was besotted by her completely and utterly,
Yeah,
and you're like, definitely she's not gonna go for him.
yeah, yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
So it's kind of like very human story, like
totally. Well, and that's
definitely
why it
strong
reminded
point.
me of Love and Rockets. Like it had that similar kind of
Yeah,
vibe
yeah,
of like
yeah.
Love and Rockets,
Uh-huh.
where it's these very realistic people
Yeah,
having real conversations.
yeah.
And yes, they're in a comic book world and other things happen too, but there's something very grounding about the way they communicate with each other, you know.
So Gore, what is Terry Moore writing next? So I'm so out of it. Maybe you are reading, or you're gonna pick up something. Would be nice to, if you mention to us.
He does have a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to. I never watch any of the videos, but every once in a while I see something in passing, because he does have a channel out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I'm subscribed to him. I watch some of the stuff for him. I don't know why. Sometimes he's just like, as I say, now you mentioning Rachel Rising, and I actually could go back and read Strange in Paradise easy.
Yeah.
Or Rachel Rising. Honestly, I should just pick up that giant of the omnibus he's created.
I mean, I regret not picking it up. You know, I should have put a couple of things back and got that instead.
Oh, late 1800s is going Western? Don't start. I do like my Westerns. Cool. I wonder who is going to be the characters. I need to watch his with. I'm afraid that
it'll be a Kickstarter. Yeah.
Oh boy, I hate those. I absolutely hate it.
Well, sorry. But I mean, the thing is, though, doing a Kickstarter from him is probably a much safer bet. Because I mean,
so.
There's a much better chance he's actually going to complete it. You know,
what I meant by it is the waiting time. I hate by Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Because you can commit to it, but then when the hell is gonna it's a bit. I don't like it. Because then
I haven't done very many of them in my life, and they were frustrating affairs for sure. That documentary that I kickstarted. Forgetting the cartoonist's name, the first guy that was ever banned from making comics in the States. Boiled Angel was his comic, but I can't remember the artist's name off the top of my head. That took for fucking ever. It did like premieres. It was traveling and doing the film circuit premieres before we even got our backer copies of it, you know? So, and it was excuses and excuses. It was a frustrating thing.
So, Gore, did you back him up on this Kickstarter? Oh, he hasn't yet put the Kickstarter out. I don't think he has drawing of Kachu with 6 shooters. I see.
That's cool.
Okay, Francine is flowing dress and standing between. Okay, yeah, because the relationship between Kachu is usually that one will get going. No, he hasn't yet. Okay. Oh boy, Kickstarters. Why did he? That means basically what I'm trying to say. Because I'm in here across the pond. Shipping is what's stopping me from even approaching Kickstarter, because that's basically more than the amount of money you have to spend just to ship the item. Yeah. I would love to support it, but the shipping is going to kill me. So what's the that's why I can't really go for it, because it's financially it's too stupid to do, to be honest.
Too bad there's not more models for like print on demand kind of thing. And I'm not talking about fucking Amazon, like around the world, where then the creators could send the files to a place that's like reasonable for you to get shipped from. And they could print out, then they could print out a copy of it, like still in the way that he wants it printed. It's too bad that model hasn't been, well, I mean, maybe it has been explored and I don't know about it, but it would be an interesting way to deal with that kind of stuff.
The only thing good about the Kickstarter is you have to wait, but certainly if something blows up quite well, then printing's eventually going to go in public market.
Mm-hmm.
But if it with Terry Moore, most likely would be okay, because his stuff is popular and most likely it will be successful, and he's going to break it the Thursday, I presume, because a lot of people love sticker like Kachu and Francine's relationship in Strange in Paradise, and that's what made his name for it anyway. But it's just, for me, like across the pond person who actually wants to support the guy, I tend not to, because it stops me because of the shipping prices. Because imagine you buy a book in America, let's say $5.99.
Yeah.
Shipping is $35.
Yeah.
$35.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I mean, I can't.
Yeah, it's fucking bonkers.
It just doesn't make any sense to me to do that.
Totally.
And that's the problem. Sometimes it stops you from going and support people actually you like and admire. They work because that way they need to survive first of all, but us, like, who is a bit away from the place, you can't really support them, because in your head it doesn't make bloody sense. How I pay $5.99 and I'm gonna spend $45 just to get it? I mean, come on. I mean, total price in general, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But some of them do price that, and I looked many times. Honestly, I mean, just curiosity comes upon me, and I was like, okay, let's see what the price of shipping across the pond would be like. Yeah, that's the price.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see this year. I don't know. I've been toying with the idea of getting a PO box just across the border. I don't know. Maybe this is the year to kind of explore that a little more, because there's this place just across the border called Pembina, couple hours drive kind of thing, you know, because then that would alleviate a lot of, like, if I wanted to get stuff, oftentimes it's free shipping within the state. That's a U.S. postal address. Can get, you know, maybe, and then just take a trip down there once every 2 months or whatever to pick up the stuff. You know, it might be something to look into this year, but we'll see.
Border agency dudes will find out who.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like when you go across the border, obviously you're allowed to bring some stuff back, and you might get duty. But, you know, it's like, we bought ourselves a couple of books or whatever, you know what I mean? Take them out of the packaging so it just looks like we bought stuff. I don't know. Maybe we can get it across, smuggle it with the kid in the back seat. Here, hold on to these drugs and these books, and let's get across the border. Anyway,
the famous Canucks with the dogs will come.
Yeah.
After you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'll get busted for sure.
I can't believe it.
Right on.
You know what I'm laughing the most about is that you are so close to America, and the same continent as well. It's just anyway. Yeah. Okay. On that note, 2025.
Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll see if we get back on a regular program starting on Sunday. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But it should be good for this weekend, I think so.
Oh yeah, isn't it? There's like a couple of days left.
I know. Yeah, well, that'll be the thing. Now that we've done this on a Wednesday, I don't know if we'll have much to talk about reading wise, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can do like our favorite reads of the year or something like that. Maybe we can do that.
Always.
Have a great same to you, Gore Vidal. It's been fantastic. Yes, and that goes for everybody who kind of hangs out with us on our Sundays. It's good to see all of you kind of come back, even if you watch after the fact or come to the channel and watch the Sunday wraps and stuff. Like, I appreciate it. So it's good to have gotten to know people better over the years, over our decade of being on YouTube. It's got to be more than that, right? Jesus Christ.
Let's enjoy our comic books and let's hope we're going to be spoiled once again in this year.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Boy.